Okay, Rachel.
Welcome, everyone. Dr. McKenzie, if you'd like to run the show.
Yes, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'd like us to bang the gavel, figuratively speaking, to start our meeting for tonight for CISL. So welcome to the Beverly School Committee's CISL meeting. Today is Wednesday, June 12th, 2024. We are meeting in a hybrid model using a remote meeting platform, allowing for remote participation, such as myself, and for public access to the open portions of our meeting. BevCam is streaming and broadcasting our meeting tonight. That's channel 6 or HD 1073, so thank you to BevCam. Beginning on June 16, 2021, with acts of the 2021, which were twice extended and now further extended until March 31st, 2025, local governments and boards were granted provisions to hold meetings remotely by suspending the need for a quorum and chair to be physically present. And it also allows us to use technological methods to allow for this safe participation. And we will now continue to do that until these extensions expire. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to President Abel for an in-person and remote roll call, since I'm not able to see everyone who is in the room.
Sure, that'll be my pleasure. Joining us in person this evening, we have Kate Twombly.
Here.
And Matthew Weaver.
Here.
Karen Robinson.
Here.
I'm Rachel Abel. We have Dot Flaherty. Here. Sue Chirocek. Here. And every one of our principals. They're all here. Joining us online, we have our resident representative, Ryan Redmond. And of course,
here.
Thank you. And of course, our chair, Dr. Kenan McKenzie DeFranza.
Thank you so much, President. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Flaherty.
Thank you. I'd like to start the meeting by saying the pledge.
Microphone, please.
Will Dr. Flaherty lead the pledge, or does she want to call someone in the room?
She is going to ask Ms. Twombly to lead the pledge.
Thank you.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, there is one change to the agenda this evening. As you know, we had a very abbreviated meeting last month, and so we were trying to catch up everything that we did and realized that there's no way we're going to get through all of the items that we had on the agenda. So we're going to be moving our handbook updates to our committee meeting of the whole scheduled, not for 2/26, but for 6/26, sending us back to February. And the first thing then on our agenda will be the approval of the minutes from the May 8th meeting. If any of our students are able to join us, they'll be giving their updates. Then we have Barb Fecto and Alex Wozniak from our libraries at the middle school and the high school to talk about summer reading, and I will cover the elementary updates. The main topic for this evening was school improvement plan updates and new goals for next year. And if time permits, I will give you an update on summer professional development. And if we run out of time, they are linked in the slides so that you can see them. You all received slides at 6 o'clock tonight. It does not have the link to the principal's presentation, just so that they can give the presentation without everybody moving ahead on them. But we will share that with you tomorrow. So the first order of business that we have tonight is the approval of minutes for the May 8th, 2024 meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the May 8th CISL meeting record.
Second.
Thank you.
The motion's been made and seconded. Ms. Abel, could you call a roll?
Sure, I'm just making sure all of our participants are logging in. Yes. I will start with, I'll just go down the table. Kate Twombly,
Yes.
Matthew Weaver,
Yes.
Karen Robinson,
Yes.
Rachel Abel, yes. Ryan Redmond,
Yes.
and Kenan McKenzie DeFranza.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. do not see any of our student reps yet, but this is there were banquets tonight and playoffs, and so if they come in, we will slide them in somewhere into the agenda. And if not, then we hope that they're all having a wonderful time wherever they're at for their activity tonight. So that will lead us to our summer reading program, which is always do we have somebody here? Oh, okay. Well, we'll do summer reading and then we'll go back. And this is always exciting because it's the kickoff. It lets us know that summer is almost there. We've almost crossed the finish line.
We could put this up, do a stand.
And I'll just share, one of the reasons I'm going to do the elementary slide is that tonight is actually the kickoff of summer reading at the library.
Yes.
And Ms. Bronson is there. So,
There you go. Okay. So summer reading is the same format that we do. The kids choose a book from. There's 2 lists. These are the books that I picked this year that I just loved, and it's quite a mix. Tiffany Jewell, who came to speak, she did an author's visit here. Paul Tremblay, who's a Beverly High graduate. That book is scary. Just be careful. Then there's some YA. There's some middle grade. There's hopefully something for everyone there. And then if you go to the next slide, there's the Mass Teen Choice Book Award nominees.
I think I'm going to buy a lot of kids The Teen's Guide to a Calm, Chill Life.
It's very mellow. Yeah, I fell asleep reading it several times. And then these are the Mass Teen Choice Book Award nominees. I've been, since it started, I've been on the committee for this, and it's kind of something for everybody, and we're making that more and more of a piece of summer reading just because they can vote, and that's a nice response that shows that, whether or not they read the book. I'm also this year, all of the feedback that I've gotten from the high school kids is that they really want to choose their own books, And so I've absolutely choose your own book, read whatever you want, just, read. So I feel like kids have been reading more interesting things, and I've gotten ideas from them as well. So it's been really nice. I think most of the kids, probably more than, I would say 60% who take part choose one of these books, but the rest of them are just reading really interesting things. A lot of Tolkien fans at Beverly High School.
Yeah, that's good.
Anyway, so that's what they're reading. And then we have the same, we've got the kickoff tonight, which we're missing, but I'm going to head out as soon as it's a great night.
See, we'll
for
get
it.
you out early.
Yeah. And I can't remember, did I put our partners up there? The Beverly Bootstraps is doing an event here, K through 12, on the 20th. And they'll be giving away books, but they also have activities, and it's just a literacy promotion event that I was going to say we worked with them. They asked us some questions. They're doing all the work, but it's been really fun to see how that sort of has rolled out. And then I don't think I have a slide for it, but we'll also be doing our annual art show in October that we do every year.
Wonderful.
And so, that's kind of it for me. I brought the books, but then you're also spread apart. You saw the picture. You know what they look like. You want to
Can't
go?
smell them, but we.
I
know.
I'm still the traditional hold the book in my hand. Although she has got me into audiobooks while I'm driving. So
They're great for commuting. Okay,
here we go for the middle school.
okay. So the requirements for the middle school are pretty much requirement-wise what we've done the last few years. Read one book from the list. We have 2 different lists. Create a response piece, which we made a couple changes this year for the 5th graders, and also read a graphic novel. So technically, we're asking them to read 2 books. I know. So the last few years, what we've done for the kids entering grade 5 and 6 is taken our list from the Mass Children's Book Award list, which is a statewide program that is aimed at students in grades 4 to 6. And because of that, they've got really good stock at all the libraries, and the bookstores all know about it. So it's just like we can kind of tie into that. They also have a voting thing in the spring. So, and we try to get copies that we also rotate through the classrooms during the school year as well. So then the kids are a little bit familiar with them, and then they talk about them and, promote them to other kids. So these are the 18 books on the list that are not either graphic novels, or there's 2 books that are extremely short, like, a few thousand words. So I didn't include those. They could still read them, too. I mean, sometimes kids are like, can I read that book? I'm like, yes, you can, but read one of these too.
Now, do they have to choose one of these? Or
Yes.
so they're not like the high school, they can't choose?
Right.
one?
You know what? I literally had a kid come to me today and say, can I read, a different book for my reading list? And I said, what do you want to read? And he said, Lord of the Rings. And I said, you sound like a good reader. How about if you read one of the books from the list and read that one?
There you go. So I was going to say, you can
So
always read
I've
it,
said, I'm
right?
not telling you can't read a different book, but to me, it's partly about building community. You come back in the fall and you and some of your classmates have read some of the same books. The teachers have read a lot of these books. A lot of these books are the ones that circulate the most in the library the next year. So it's a community piece for me, and that's part of the reason why I tell them. And also because too much choice is hard. Sometimes kids think they want to choose anything, but they don't. It's like when we go on Netflix and you're like, what am I going to watch tonight? I have no idea. So the list for grade 7 and 8, I choose. And these books are mainly just like some of the characters are just a little bit older than in the books, the other list. Some of the topics are slightly more mature in some cases, or slightly more complicated or something. So a lot of the kids are really excited about Don't Turn Out the Lights, which is a collection of short stories that's kind of supposed to be based off of scary stories to tell in the dark. So that one's getting a lot of traction. 12 to 22, a lot of kids want to read, and unfortunately it's back-ordered right now, so we couldn't have it at the book fair. But the kids have been coming in today for book fair. They're super excited. It's really fun seeing them all gather around the table and pointing at them and talking about them together. So that's been great. So again, like a little something there for everybody. I hope there's 20 books on this list.
And I know the library is a great resource, the
Yes.
public library, but also if, working with your principals, if you have any students that are homeless or need help getting a library, purchasing a book, we can help with that.
Oh, okay, that's great. And that's part of, most of the money from the book fair goes to get books into hands of kids who can't afford them, and the ones that, the rest of the profits mostly go to the books that Bootstraps is going to be giving away to our kids this summer. So we also use that as ways to get the books into their hands.
Are these available on Sora?
They're pretty much all available on Sora. Yeah, we work with Tressa Santillo, who coordinates the MLS Commonwealth ebook collection, which I subscribe to. Are you getting that too? Yep. So that's been a great resource. So if we send our list to them, they're really good about trying to have as many of them available. And the good thing, that's another good thing with the MCBA books, they already know about those. They're already got demand all through the state, so they get a ton of those.
Mass
Yeah.
Teen Choice as well. They're
So-
all available
exactly.
for-
I know last year when Paul was building the new book collection for the ELA program.
Yeah.
I was able to get through all
Yeah,
of them through
that's what we
Sora,
did.
so that was really.
Right.
It
And-
was really good.
And some of those are available also in other languages through Sora, or kids who benefit from listening to audiobooks. Audiobooks have become more popular, so they've become easier to get, so they usually have the audiobooks available too.
And even for grown-ups, that Everything Sad is Untrue on your list.
Yeah.
One of the best audiobooks I've ever listened to. Love it so much.
Oh, I'll have to check that out in audio.
To put it on the list. She's writing it down. All
Do
right.
you have any questions for us?
You don't. It just is always such a great, you do such a good job and pick good things and challenge the kids. So it's always good to hear what we're doing for summer reading.
Thanks for letting us come and talk about it. For
Yeah,
support.
I know. We love getting to come in and talk about books.
And we have the elementary level as well. And this is a partnership with the public library. And it's it's a true collaboration because they work together to get the information out to students. They come and they meet with our with the summer reading list that they're thinking about, but they meet with our district librarian and then our literacy coaches and reading specialists. You'll see in here, and I will not go through all 25 descriptions, but they're here so that you can look at them later, especially if you have young ones at home. Ms. Bronson did a great job of putting up every single book, and it lets you know if it's available through our Overdrive or if it is available in other languages. And it's beautiful. You can see all the pictures for the 25 books that were on the list. The librarians visit each school and they talk to the students and give them an overview of the program and to promote the summer reading. There was a generous donation from Rotary that allowed Ms. Bronson to purchase all of the titles for all of the 5 libraries so that they're available at the school library. And if students go in, they can log at least 12 hours, and if they visit the library throughout the summer, then they get put in drawings for tickets for things at the Topsfield Fair, and for different gift cards to local businesses. And through the donation that we received, we were also able to purchase one of the books, Jovita Wore Pants, in Spanish language, so that's also available for students in Spanish. And which is great for parents that are reading and need a Spanish version of the book to read to their children, and/or for a child to read the book in Spanish to their parents. And as we mentioned, the kickoff is tonight, and that is where Ms. Bronson is. So she's representing the district there with her family. And the theme for this year's summer reading is Read, Renew, and Repeat. Any questions about the elementary? Okay. Thank you very much. And I think I saw Finn come in, correct?
You did.
Thank you. Finn, would you like to come forward? Thank you. Yeah. And share your update with us? That table goes down if you want to sit. See that right in the front?
You can stand.
So the end of the school year is coming up. So we've been completely off of our schedules lately, like the last couple weeks, I'd say. But we've been doing a lot of fun stuff. We had like a staff first student soccer game a few days ago, or maybe last week. I don't know.
Who won?
The staff won again for the second time, maybe more. I just know that last year the score was exactly the same, 2-0, but they put up a good fight. So, and then today we had an 8th grade field day. That was also pretty fun. We stayed in our teams for the entire time. Yeah, we did a minute to win it at the end of the day. That was fun. I got eliminated though, so it's okay. And then we have our graduation coming up on Tuesday, I think. We're walking to BHS for the graduation, and then we have a dance later that night. So it's a nice way to close out the year.
Where are you walking from?
Here, I think, maybe, yeah. So.
Any questions about the middle school?
Just congratulations.
Yeah,
Good job.
congratulations.
Pretty sad
Congratulations.
to be leaving,
Yeah,
honestly.
it is.
It's exciting but sad,
Yeah.
but also you'll be moving on to great things next year.
Super fun.
And we just want to thank you, Finn. It's a little ice cream gift card
Thank you.
for coming and sharing with us.
And if you see Dr. Flaherty and I there, don't tell
Yeah, I
anyone.
know. Don't tell anybody.
It's like a big secret.
We can recommend the new
Yeah.
Reese's Fluffernutter.
We very much recommend the Reese's Fluff Nutter.
Okay. So we will move on and have our school improvement updates, and if any of our students can join us, we will work them in after this presentation. And so tonight you'll hear from each of our principals, and the first few slides that they'll do will give you an update on how they did at achieving this year's goals, and then they'll also give you the overview for what they're selecting for next year's goals. And similar to the district plan, those will then be turned into the full written plan that will be on the website for the start of the school year. But as you know, we're trying to change the format of it. So you won't see the full plan, but you will see all of the key pieces of it. Just to remind everybody, when we presented our district improvement plan, 2 months ago now, we identified our 3 overarching areas in our goal areas, including designing our equity continuum, diversity, belonging, inclusivity, and equity, 2, empowering educators, and 3, innovative practices. And under those goal areas, we have identified 5 focus areas for next year. And those include fostering belonging within our school, chronic absenteeism, high-impact instructional strategies, expanding civics and understanding, and climate action. And you'll see that all of the school improvement plan goals will tie to one of these areas. They won't necessarily be doing all 5. Doesn't mean that they won't do work in all 5, but for their school improvement plan, they have each chosen 3 areas to focus on for their school goals. And this just reminds you of the flow of how school improvement plans work. We write the district plan first. That then flows down into the school improvement plans at each of the individual schools. And then in the fall, when teachers are writing their educator plans and their goals for their evaluation, they need to link their goals back to the school improvement plan. And I'm going to invite Mrs. Montevecchi to come up and share about Hannah. I'll move your slides for you if you, just saves time. We have them all linked in one presentation.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. So I was saying to my faculty this afternoon at our faculty meeting last week, our team just finished up doing their data stories and celebrating all of the amazing achievements of their students. And tonight, I get to do the same thing with my data story and highlights of our school improvement plan and lift up, celebrate, and I told them I was going to embarrass them for all the amazing things that they have done this year. So first of all, shout out to our fantastic Hannah faculty. Our first school improvement goal this year was to foster a culture of respect, inclusivity, collaboration, where all of our students feel connected and valued to our school, and making strong connections between home and school. I won't read through all of our bullet points, but our pictures illustrate a few key points I'd like to make. Our theme for this year was under construction. As everyone knows, we had our outdoor learning classroom underway this year, and we also had many new teams in the building. So that was a great metaphor for this year, coming together to build strong teams, as well as having a fantastic new element to our building under construction outside. We were very proud that at our back to school night, we had 93% of all families in attendance. Very exciting to see so many families taking part in setting the tone for a strong year. We also had a number of 3 this year. We generally do 4, but we had so much happening at the end of the year, I cut it back a little. We had 3 of our community lunches, and that's the center picture that I've chosen from one of our events this winter, where we simply invite families to come on in and enjoy lunch with their student. It's a great way for families to get to know one another and to meet that kid Sue that they're always talking about in class and share grilled cheese together and share community. I also shared a picture from our art show at the mayor's office just a couple of weeks ago, highlighting 93 pieces of artwork from our students in grades K through 4. Our next school improvement goal was related to the use of our City Connects teacher, Erica Lepic. Today I gave her the moniker Epic Lepic because she truly is. She is everywhere all the time working with all of our students. But just a few highlights of her work this year. She started what was known as motivational mornings at Hannah, and she focused on helping children who had significant attendance concerns, particularly tardiness, set their own goals to arrive at school on time. And over the course of this project, she was able to help us increase and I should say reduce the number of students arriving tardy from the fall to the spring by 25%. That is significant. And the kids really owned those goals themselves. That was most impressive. It wasn't about the prizes in the box at the end of the week. It was really about feeling good and feeling ready for the day every day that they arrived on time. So hugely proud of Ms. Lepic in that work. She also ran our weekly Second Steps lessons in grade 1, which focused on social emotional learning. And she also ran ongoing lunch groups with our grade 4 students. And she established a grade 4 school-wide student leadership council that involved a core group of leaders in grade 4, but really involved every grade 4 student to see the leader within themselves and to fulfill important roles in the building, like outdoor arrival greeters, helping younger students work on ST math, and also help lend some suggestions to how we can overarching improve the school. She actually set up a suggestion box, and the students took suggestions regularly about ways that we could improve our school climate. Our next goal was to strengthen our core instruction, reduce achievement, the achievement and opportunity gap for our students who fall into the high-risk area. I chose to highlight our math data because this year we had teachers at every grade level working on our Building Thinking Classrooms professional development. And this course focused on key elements of strengthening the skills of our mathematical thinking through the use of vertical surfaces, collaborative problem solving, and authentic application of concepts. And you can see between our beginning of the year fall benchmarks and end of the year fall benchmarks, we had significant gains in achievement. Our continuation of this goal is really about how we fold in and embed culturally responsive teaching and social emotional learning to uphold success for all students. And we know that those SEL goals and those anti-bias goals and developing the whole picture of self result in higher achievement for all. You've heard me and many of my colleagues talk about the concept of mirrors and windows, and this is something that we continued to bake into all of our professional development throughout the course of the year, as well as using the DESE culturally responsive teaching look-fors in all of our classrooms. Character nominations is a big part of what we do, has been for the entire life of our school. We think about shouting out students who have done wonderful things to emulate our school motto, be kind, be responsible, be the best you can be. The choice is yours, and that goes for social emotional growth and academic achievement. All right, some exciting news. You saw front page of the paper. Couldn't help, but couldn't resist but put this into my slide. My gratitude to our entire amazing parent team, to our partnership with the city to help make this funding possible to develop access to an outdoor classroom for all students. We know that when students are outside in fresh air and sunshine, they are able to better focus and attend to this, the learning at hand. And we know that because we do use so many important apps for school use, it's important to balance with off-screen time. It's been an amazing addition, and we look to expand our use of the outdoor classroom going into the year ahead.
We were at a recent conference and there was a picture with kids outside in rain suits, and I said, "Oh, that's going to
That's
be
next for
Gabrielle's
us. Yeah,
next
don't you know
request."
it? We'll be looking for the rain suits for sure. Finally, our last performance goal was around expanding the efforts of the school green team led by Seton Wood, who is our STEAM teacher. He met weekly with our green team to make sure that our students followed all of the recycling protocols as they should, and they also, in turn, were teaching the school about appropriate recycling. And here is one of our samples of a trash can at Hannah that has a couple of things on the top that could have been quickly sorted and recycled. And the work was really up to the fourth grade students to be teaching the younger learners about the process and importance of recycling. And then earlier in the year, a number of those Green Team students participated in the Talking Trash program that was sponsored by Green Beverly. And that was a phenomenal night. Thank you. Finally, in summary of accomplishments, I just highlighted a couple of pieces of important data, and please feel free to reach out directly with any questions you may have. These are our DIBELS composite scores for students in the high need category. You can see that between the fall and the spring, we had some incredible growth, and that in each grade level, less than 20% of our students in the high needs population are recommended for intensive interventions. And then the next piece of data that I shared with you all is our math benchmark data average scores for each grade level. And in spring of 2024, our math benchmark reflects between 41 and 58% yearly growth, which is an incredible accomplishment. And again, I thank all of our teachers for their very hard work this year, and I want to celebrate all of our students as well. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a wonderful year at Hannah, and the elementary will be doing a common goal presentation at the end. They're going to have the same goals, but then when they do their plans, you'll see their individual strategies that they'll do. Centerville is up next.
Centerville's here.
Go Centerville.
Go
Hello,
Beavers.
everyone. Yes, go Beavers. Pardon my appearance. It's Survivor Week in every sense of the word at Centerville this week. You know, I too thank our teachers. We were having a staff meeting today sort of talking about all the accomplishments, and I thought, man, what an exercise it is to take the enormity of a school year and cram it into a few slides. So I'll do my best to sort of encapsulate all that we had done. Our theme for this year was Saddle Up for Success, and what a wild ride it has been for sure, Beaver Nation. You'll notice that a lot of these goals are the same. We wrote them together last year, and they'll take their own little spin at each school. Inclusive community, setting out to create an inclusive community is always important to us. I think relationships matter to us at Centerville. So one of the things that we were trying to hold ourselves accountable to is really tracking who shows up at our different events. So we sort of discreetly took attendance at curriculum nights and conferences and open houses and kept close and monitored like who was coming and who wasn't, and making sure that we followed up and had a follow-up plan to make sure that we were having face-to-face conversations with all of our families. And so at the end, we were feeling pretty good that we were able to connect with all of our families throughout the year. The City Connects, I don't know how we ever did our job without City Connects. It's like it now feels almost right in a building.
It just takes 2 years.
2 years, 2 years. But when you look at it, I was struck by that number, right, on the left, that almost 70% of our students receiving 3 or more services, running the gamut, right, from clothes, enrichment, sporting, whatever it is. But it's just like the City Connects person has become this gear that makes us all better in the job that we do. It's not resting on one person. It's one person who's part of a system that actually is supporting our students and our families better. And so I can't emphasize the success we feel with having that in our schools. And a shout out to Aaron Berrigan, who is fulfilling that role for us. We combined our school performance goals 3 and 4 together because obviously this is the bulk of what we do each year is focus on our academic programs. And as you know, from being at CISL, in the last 2 or 3 years, we have adopted new ELA and math programs. And a lot of time goes into just learning those programs. And we feel like we're at a point now where it's time for us to mind the gaps and create the extensions of our core curriculum programs to really make them connect to our students. And so a lot of our strategic efforts were involved in planning. So I would say at every grade level in our building, we now have sort of a planning document that supplements our curriculum programs for math and ELA. And that's a lot of work that has gone into making our instruction more explicit, making it more efficient, and making it more relevant and authentic. And that's work that we're really proud of. And we kind of held that quote up in the beginning because putting a lesson together, you do have to think of a lot of different things. And there's just so much work into each little day of instruction. And so we were pretty consistent on staying on that goal throughout the year. And our school green team is alive and well at Centerville. Shout out to Ruth Furlong, who runs that for us. They met consistently bi-weekly throughout the year. They organize, they sort of monitor our recycling systems in the school. They organize a school-wide cleanup for Earth Day. It was nice to be in school for Earth Day this year. I don't think we've had that experience. And then they also mentored our K students to plant a vegetable garden. So we're really happy to see that. And what we're starting to see now is that the students who are in the green team are bringing that work into their classrooms and making those connections. And so we see in the year ahead that the work of the green team is going to start to filter into some of our curriculum planning. So
It's the goal.
that's happening. Thank you. These are just some simple data charts. Our main areas of focus for this year were writing and math. And so this kind of just says what I've already talked about. And it's only really an iceberg of the data and the tracking that we monitor throughout the year to track our student growth.
Tremendous growth. So,
Well, what we're really trying to focus on, I think, for math, right? So I think we're always seeing strong results in K2, right? And then I think we acknowledge that there's this cliff when the numbers get bigger and the content gets a little more complex. And so we felt like we were really trying to push for deep reasoning and deep conceptual understanding in our younger grades. And our hope is that our cliff starts to get a little shorter in the years ahead. Thank you, everyone.
thank you. And AIRS is up next, Ms. Hart.
Hi, good evening, everybody.
I will echo for the third time. Yay, our staffs. They are
I think
wonderful.
we'll hear that
I
7
know,
times.
maybe like 5 more times tonight. They are wonderful. They have worked so hard all year, and we are all ready, I think, for that celebration period. So, school goal number 1 at AIRS, this community of respect and collaboration. And I think for us, at the heart of that at AIRS is how do we get families into our building outside of school hours? And we really focused on that this year. So in addition to the wonderful shows that we have every year for each grade level, we have almost 100% attendance at each of those shows that Erin Campbell does for us. She's amazing. This year, for the first time, we did a caregiver information night, and we had different staff members present. We had our instructional coaches present. We had our City Connects and our SAC present on the difference between worries and anxiety, which was something we heard in our City Connects feedback surveys. We also had our school nurse and our district dietitian present about body image talk. So we had a lot of different options for parents that a lot of people came out to, and we got a lot of great feedback on that. So we plan on doing that going forward. The other, I think, big change for us this year was that we have, as many of our schools do, welcomed different local companies into our buildings to run enrichments in the afternoon. Acting for Young Stars is one. A lot of us use Artsy. And we were able to work with them and make a deal that said, basically, yes, please come in and use our facilities, rent them out. However, we need a certain number of per diem spots for students who may not otherwise have the ability to afford to pay for this enrichment after school. And that was wonderful. Our City Connects helped with that as well, selecting and identifying students who could take advantage of that opportunity and even working out transportation for them in the event that they needed that.
Megan, what's the 4th grade morning welcoming committee?
It's very similar to what Gabrielle said over at Hannah. We have some jobs for our 4th graders. Some of them help the younger grades in kindergarten, but we had a welcoming committee. So every Friday we had 4th graders at the door just saying, good morning, welcome to school, just a friendly face and a smile. Second one, City Connects. Agree with what everyone has said about City Connects so far. They have been incredibly helpful in our building. Very briefly, if you look at the stats on the left, about 96% of our students received between 1 and 3 services in the past year. I feel like, again, to echo Julie, in year 2, we're coming into our own. We've our City Connects, with the help of Megan Sudak as well. We have so many more community connections. That just continues to grow, and we're able to reach more students. So high impact instructional strategies and strengthening the core. As a staff at AIRS, we spent the whole year talking about the work of John Hattie, who's an educational researcher. He's done a meta-analysis of high impact strategies, and we spent almost all of our time this year at staff meetings working on 3 research-based practices that he deemed were the most effective. He said you can do almost anything with students in an intervention and it will have positive results, but what he analyzed to see which are the most effective. And so we spent our time doing that. We worked on space practice, and that really is cumulative review. How do you introduce something? When do you come back to it for students? And based on the brain and what we know about that, how often should you space and repeat instruction? We talked about deliberate practice, which is really thinking about where kids are and pushing them just a little bit beyond that edge, because that's where the growth happens. And talked about receiving and responding to feedback and how important that is. If we're not giving students in the moment feedback about next steps, they have no idea where to go. And so having them give feedback to each other, having them receive feedback, that's a tricky thing for kids at the elementary age. So we spent a lot of time working on that. The graphs that you see there, just a couple quick snapshots about closing the gap. On the top, the not so colorful pretty one, but also an important one, shows at the beginning of the year the number of general education students who required intensive support in our building, which was 57 students at the beginning of the year. By the end of the year, we had cut that number down to 24 through the help of our interventionists and strategic classroom instruction. And then at the bottom is another graph that shows, I'm just going to have you look at the colors because it's too small to see, but this is a specific cohort of kindergarten students. On the left, you can see it's about 20 students. All of the red indicates that we weren't starting the year in a very good place. And by the end, if you can look at all that green, that's that same cohort of 22 kids. So there was a lot of growth there. We spent a lot of time working on how do we respond to individual student needs.
And that's our Linkit assessments. And so every student in grades K to 4 are assessed 3 times a year. So we have this type of data on every classroom and every student. And just to celebrate the Dibbles data so that you understand that, that is for reading. And as we all know from research and from just listening to, general news reports, that one of the biggest milestones that we try to reach is that all kids are reading on grade level by grade 3. And this is showing that they're making great gains, and you'll see that across multiple schools as well.
This slide, as Julie mentioned, is really linked to the previous goal. But one of the things I did want to mention, and shout out to Julie Smith and Caroline Gilligan, is that they have a Beverly Public Schools course called Critical Conversations About Social Justice that a lot of the administrators and our staff and Dr. Flaherty took part in this year. And we loved it so much that a lot of the elementary administrators then took a SEED course, and it's based on the work of SEED, Seeking Educational Equity and Diversity, so that we could begin to have conversations with our staff. And that led to some conversational communities at the Air School, which we plan on continuing into next year.
And I'm going to put a plug because Julie and Carolyn are running the course again this summer. Right now, we have 5 people signed up, and so we need to get 5 more people that are taking it before we can let the course run. So it was an amazing class and highly recommend it.
Okay, and last but not least, Green Team. We had 3 teachers that ran Green Team this year. We expanded it. Last year it was only 4th graders that participated. This year we had 3rd grade students as well. We had 20 total members. We had monthly meetings, and we decided to use some funding to partner with Change is Simple for Green Team. So they came to each one of our Green Team meetings, and this is a list of different topics that throughout the course of the year our teachers, our staff, and Change is Simple tackled.
Great. I'm very excited that Ms. Visnick is here in the audience tonight, hearing about all our Green Team stuff that's going on. Cove School is up next.
Thanks, Megan.
Thank you.
Good evening. At the risk of being repetitive.
Well, celebrate tonight.
Celebrate the
'cause this is your, we'll celebrate you too, as this is your last school improvement plan update.
Yeah, and we are in the middle of data meetings this week. And it's been, there are a lot of things that we go through that I'm like, oh, well, I don't have to do this again. And, but today, today and yesterday at data meetings and Monday, it kind of gave me pause, like, this is what I'm going to miss. All their celebrations and just the people that I work with is, incredible. So shout out to everybody at Cove School. And at the risk of being repetitive, I'm going to just try to highlight the things that haven't already been mentioned. But so for our goal number 1, so things that we have done that kind of have been done at all schools, but mathnasium nights and math nights, we probably, I would say, have about 90% participation at our open houses, our curriculum nights. We invite parents for volunteer opportunities, both inside of school and outside. So for library, we have running club on Wednesdays during recess. And of course, they come to field day. That's a favorite. We also have some parents coming in to support small group instruction and activities in the classroom with specials in an art, like art and STEM too, which is really helpful with all the materials. We try to do an open house that's like more of a family fun night so that they can see the work, but then also do some fun activities both inside and outside of the school. We have kindergarten welcome read-alouds and weekly mystery readers as well. And of course, we translate all our documents. And we found Lion Bridge interpreter service that we have where we can make calls to parents has been extremely helpful and so easy to use. So that has been kind of a key communication tool for us. And City Connects again, yes, we love City Connects, so Eileen Conway, our school adjustment counselor, and Abby Slazak, our City Connects person, work very closely together, and they have since the beginning because they were, Abby was actually an intern with Eileen a few years ago, and so it was a no-brainer when this position came up and we could have her join us. So they work really closely together, and again, you know, Eileen will say, how did I do the job without her? So we have 10% of our students at Cove received individual student reviews through BSST, and we have a big group of people who are involved in that meeting every Wednesday morning. Abby gave me some data on all the services that we've provided, and I won't go through all of them, but they're kind of astounding. You know, students were connected with 4,484 services overall. And those included anything between what Eileen and Abby provided, health service, academic services, family needs. We've connected with community partners, 37 of those. We offer family support with snacks and clothing, holiday support, coats, scholarships. We've given scholarships for enrichment for soccer, flag football, artsy. We've worked with Beverly Bootstraps, Big Brother, Big Sister. We also incorporated, so Character Strong was a goal that we had for grade 1. We taught lessons, Abby and Eileen kind of divided and conquered and taught lessons in class weekly to every class across all grade levels using Character Strong. We also, that was also a focus with our community meetings that we have at least once a month. Getting there. Okay. So our third goal, strengthen core instruction. So we've done a lot of, the teachers have really appreciated the district-wide PD that we've done, speaking to teachers at their grade level at other schools and working together. We've also had a lot of PD within our school and with our coaches. We've tried to incorporate co-teaching opportunities with the coaches and with each other, being able to do walkthroughs, that type of thing. And those are the things that are really impactful to see how other people do it, that we don't, we no longer have a closed door classroom. We're continuously learning from each other. We actually did we all did this across the district, but we had grades 2 and 3 at Cove work with the Wit and Wisdom rep in our school buildings to really pre-plan and do observations. It was a strategic protocol that they followed. We have a daily win time that provides highly targeted interventions in literacy, mostly in literacy, and we've tried to incorporate that more in math as well. We have purchased supplemental texts that align with Wit and Wisdom and are culturally diverse. And we found that the students are really interested in the topics, and their writing has changed dramatically. There's still a lot of work to do, and it's our goal continuing through the summer PD that's going to happen the week after school ends, and then for next year. But we just see that they have the information they need and the background knowledge to produce the writing that we're expecting. And then the collaboration with specialists to incorporate art and STEM into the literacy curriculum has happened, and we want to spread that out with gym and music. Ensuring all students have opportunities to engage and succeed in advanced classroom activities. I think Wit and Wisdom has provided that equitable access to material with entry levels for our Ls and special education students. So our L teachers have really worked together to provide a curriculum that aligns with Wit and Wisdom but also meets the goals. We have book clubs that the students are reading books that interest them and using protocols to facilitate meaningful discussions. And we had a book study, Building Thinking Classrooms, which is a math-focused book, but we're using some of the strategies both in math and in ELA. And then we have a green team as well. Had all our fourth grade students participate in green team this year. Every student had a job. Last year, there were about 15 to 20 students who participated and applied for jobs. This time, everybody had to apply for a job, and they would get the job that they were most interested in. So they had teaching teams that researched environmental change and created slideshows to teach to the younger grades. They had an advertising and graphic design team, fact sharers that would make announcements in the morning. Conservation Council shared a weekly challenge every Monday that would go out to all the students and throughout the school, and they would try to meet that challenge. And we also collaborated with Change is Simple for lessons that aligned with our goals for Green Team. And these are just some pictures to show that was on the left-hand side is their job application, and so it listed the job postings, and they had to explain why they would be a good match for that job. And that chart that you can't really see because it's too small, but it just shows all the jobs with all the students from fourth grade listed, and then just a couple of advertisements and some of the fact sharing that they shared with the school. And I think that's it.
That's a wrap.
Thank you.
Great data. Amy, to talk about North Beverly.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to share the magic that is happening at North Beverly, and everything I'm going to share with you guys tonight is a true testament to my staff. This would not be possible without them. Their hard work and commitment to our littles is unparalleled. So our first goal, like everyone else, is to foster a culture of respect and really focusing on the structure, building a strong partnership between home and school. For me, open communication with our families is so important. This includes our weekly updates, having open conversations with our families, and making our information accessible to all of our families. We host a monthly school meeting, which is focused on our character development. And one thing, we had the opportunity, Erin Sweeney, the principal at Cove, and I this year had the opportunity to visit the Ron Clark Academy in Georgia this year, and it was life-changing. And one thing I took away from that was really focusing on creating a welcoming and engaging school environment. So this year, my staff and I made a commitment that we are going to showcase how we make our learning visible. And so we are in the process of hanging over 200 pictures that will be framed in our lobby of the students engaged in hands-on learning. So I'm excited to share that with you guys in the future. As a school community, we also embraced a weekly STAR habit based on Ron Clark's book, The Essential 55, which are guidelines for living and interacting with others. We implemented aspects of PBIS, which is Positive Behavior Intervention System, and students are awarded STAR cards when they are caught exemplifying the STAR habits that we have within the building. We collaborated with our PTO to host many family events, including our science fair, a pumpkin hunt, faculty versus mum ball game, which I did play in, which I had no business playing in, but just like my students, we put ourselves out there and we grow. Which was fun, and we had a winter wonder hunt, which was amazing. And this year we also reimagined our open house to make it a more hands-on, engaging experience, which was really, we had so much positive feedback based on that. Goal number 2, we are looking at our City Connects and their involvement, and I just have to say, hands down, best added position ever. I would be lost without this. Our City Connects person has taught character strong lessons in all of our grades all year long. We had lunch bunch options offered for tier 1 and 2 support. Our holiday gift drive this year, kudos to Megan Sudak, was massive. It was so fun. We had whole class reviews, which looked at every student in our building for 100% of our students. We looked very closely in depth at 28 of our students. 90 students improved by at least one tier from the beginning of the year to the end of the year with the sports and services added. 97 of our 350 students received 3 or more services, and 47 of our students received at least 2 services. We also added cartwheel counseling services and home stretch after-school programming to our community partner list, which was a game changer. Goal number 3, we're looking at strengthening our core instruction and basically just improving our overall data. And I have lots of charts over to the side of that to exemplify what the growth we made. But the way we did this is our staff also, like Megan shared at AIR, so we looked at Hattie's high-impact instructional strategies. We had consistent, targeted, explicit small group instruction, and it was differentiated based on the needs of our students. So we looked at who was in front of us, what they needed, and we made that happen, and we made adjustments as needed. We had multiple opportunities for daily practice of what they've learned. We had purposeful scheduling to maximize instructional time. Each year we have data stories where my staff actually presents their data to us and tells us where their students' strengths are, where their needs are, and what we can do better. And we just, as everyone else, just finished up 3 days of data meetings, and it was amazing. We continuously progress monitor our students, and we use this data to inform our future instruction. PD, utilizing teaching and learning progression tool from Wit and Wisdom, was huge this year. And we engaged in learning walks and reflective conversations to enhance our instruction. Basically, and as a school, 74% of our students have met their fluency benchmark. And the only data that I want to highlight is our math MCAS scores. In grade 3, we had 60, I can't see if it's
66.
Thank you, of our students meet benchmark at our school versus the state, which was only 41. And at 4th grade, we had 72% of our students meet benchmark, and the state was only at 45. And our student growth percentile was 71%, which is so impressive.
Outstanding.
Yes.
And it's always exciting to see them do their data stories because they own it. And
Yes,
they
you were
get
part
so
of it. You saw
excited.
it.
Yeah.
Goal number 4, we want to ensure that all students have the opportunity to engage and succeed in advanced curriculum classroom activities. And how we made this happen is each grade level in the building committed to at least one classroom transformation to enhance student engagement. So basically, they immerse students in, you can see here on these pictures, one of them, they were doing exploring the continents, and they turned their room into an airport, and those students there are sitting actually in an airplane, and they had a passport, and as they visited each country, they checked off their passport. And just creating these experiences for them, their level of engagement and the learning that came from it was unbelievable. We provided them authentic project-based learning opportunities, collaborative projects, and choice boards, which allowed students to choose activities that target the same learning objectives but cater to the different interests and abilities of the students. And we also did a lot of work with professional development on appropriately scaffolding writing tasks, because I think sometimes we over scaffold for kids that don't need it. So we kind of really looked at what the students needed and gave them just that. And our last goal, again, was the green team. I had 2 teachers, my STEAM teacher, Kurt Anderson, and my 4th grade teacher, Becky Young, who has run this program for 2 years. And it has consisted of our 4th grade students. We had 18 of them, and they meet twice a month. And the team has orchestrated multiple school outdoor cleanups, which I will tell you, if you walk our grounds at North Beverly, it has never looked better. My first year as principal, I actually had a contest where I gave each classroom a trash bag, and they came to me and we weighed it, and the class who brought in the most trash got a prize, and I don't have to do that anymore, so kudos to them. They also piloted a Save Energy initiative school-wide. Our 4th grade ambassadors managed the school-wide recycling program. They created pollination gardens. With the support, we got a grant from Lexus and the BevEd Foundation. They built bird feeders and bee hotels from repurposed materials designed to attract pollinators. And they were actually recognized by the Department of Environmental Protection for their outstanding efforts to increase and improve recycling. So, thank you.
Thank you. And I think Ms. Hart is presenting the goals for next year for the elementary.
Dr. Flaherty, do you want to put that at the end and let middle and high school go? It's up to you.
I think, I'm wondering,
What do you?
I'm wondering if you want to, would it be a problem if we moved the middle and high school into the committee? You could start the regular committee and then do them? Okay. Okay. All right.
Why don't we finish this, because then that way if we move the other 2 into the other meeting, then will be wrapped up
Only
with
they'll have to
elementary.
stay.
Yeah. This will be quicker because this is talking about what we're going to do, so there aren't a lot of initiatives to share, but this is always the highlight of the year for us because we get to see in one big picture all of the exciting stuff that we live every day.
All right, so me again. I am going to present the elementary plan. You're already familiar with the district plan for next year, and so you'll find that this very closely follows that. And the 3 goals that I'm going to share today all fall under the umbrella of equity. Goal number 1 is to ensure equitable access to high quality instruction. That can look different. First of all, Gabrielle already mentioned we've done some work on culturally responsive practices, but we would like to continue that work specifically in the area of student engagement. With Wit and Wisdom, we've done a lot of curriculum review, and we've even started supplementing that. So we want to carry that work over into different content areas and continue the work on differentiated instruction. And so under that, our indicators of success really revolve around implementing at least 4 culturally responsive engagement strategies, and we will measure that through staff learning walks and our building walkthroughs. We will have improved student performance on benchmark and formative assessments, as well as classroom assessments by subgroup. And for the first time, we would like to solicit feedback from families about how inclusive they think that our curriculum is. And so we would measure that with an end-of-year survey. Elementary goal number 2 is to foster an inclusive school culture. That might sound familiar because it's very similar to the goal that we continue to work on. And that is to create a culture that values diversity, promotes inclusion, encourages respectful and positive interactions among students and staff. This is where some of that seed work that I spoke about earlier comes in. We are really looking to use the lessons and protocols of that with work in our staff around anti-bias and what that looks like in a classroom. We will also continue our anti-bullying curriculum and respect campaigns that we would look at for as a whole school. We will know that that's working because we hope to decrease instances of bullying and harassment by 10%. Again, we would be looking to do some surveys for families, not just families though, students and staff as well. And we've had great success with the Character Strong curricula through City Connects this year, and I know that we are hoping to broaden that reach as well. And last is around equitable access to resources and support services, just making sure that everyone has access to what they need that's necessary for their academic but also their personal growth. And so we would, again, rely heavily on our City Connects program for this information and for that data. As I mentioned, they've really broadened their community partnerships, and so we're looking forward to increasing that. We are really invested in our school council and increasing our family engagement in that so that family members are a part of our school decision-making processes. And again, we just love feedback. We want some more feedback from families regarding how available, readily available they feel our resources are in the district and where we could improve.
Any questions for Megan or the elementary principals on the new goals? Okay. Thank you.
Can I just say one thing? I am so excited. After watching each individual building, knowing that they plan these together, how each building sort of takes it in their own way and in their own direction. And so I'm excited to see how all of these, what direction each building takes them in next year. So I really like the way they're doing the collaborative goals.
Great. Mrs. Oliver.
Good evening. Feeling a little bit under the time crunch here.
No
but
worries. We're good.
We're good. We're good. All right. I'll start off with shout outs. So shout out to my elementary colleagues who always do an amazing job presenting and are a hard act to follow. And before I begin, as all of our elementary friends said, shout out to the BMS staff that works really hard to support kids every year, and this year was no different. So as we look at our SIP update, our first goal was to create a school community that cultivates belonging and promoting equitable practices. And we're always looking for ways to add joy into the community. So we created, we have supported a number of things this year, peer leaders. A lot of this is repetitive from past years, but we're building and expanding what we already have. For example, our student council. This year we did add director of restorative practices. We have responsive classroom in grades 5 and 6. We have piloted some advisory lessons in grades 7 and 8. We have an expansion of our house system. We have year 2 return to nature's classroom, which people are really excited about. And due to that, we've had the opportunity to have a lot of fundraising activities that have really built community in BMS, such as year 2 of our Waffle Land, our Boo Bash, our Winter Wonderland, our Bingo Night. We've expanded school dances. Everyone was able to participate in that this year. We've had a number of authors that have visited with us. Cara Bean, for example, and Myrna Valerio, who was a huge hit. I don't know if she was the same author that was at the elementary, but I've never seen the kids so engaged with an author that has come in. And she talks about body image. Middle school is the perfect time for that, and that was really positive. We also expanded our field trips this year. We had a trip to Quebec. A Puerto Rico trip happened, and also New York City. Okay, moving on to our second goal. This is increasing academic gains in the area of math for grades 5 through 8. And the charts that you see here are from our Linkit database, and we're looking at standards. It's 5 and 6 on the top and 7 and 8 on the bottom. What this shows is that in grade 5 out of 10 standards, we had 9 standards that showed improvement with a high of 57% increase. In 6th grade, all 10 standards had an increase, with the highest increase being at 39 percentage points. In grade 7, we had 7 standards that showed improvement, with 22% showing improvement in those particular standards. And last but not least, in grade 8, we had 10 out of 10 standards show improvement, with 41% being the highest that we had. Continuation of the goal. In addition to the benchmark data that I just shared, I want to highlight the ongoing support that we receive from our STEM director, Jim Grocke, and also our partnership with TNTP. TNTP is a nonprofit organization endorsed by DESE to help transform teaching and learning and leadership within the schools. And they are located across the country, and they are free, which is a wonderful thing. So presently we have weekly consultation meetings with our assigned coach from TNTP. Our focus has been on the utilization of an internalization process or protocol to assist with lesson planning, teaching to the edges with appropriate scaffolding, establishing coherence across the grade levels, and continuing with our data-driven instruction. We do have site visits 4 times a year. When that happens, we are able to give explicit feedback to teachers after we have visited their classroom. And this year, we have really built a strong foundation for math instruction, including more productive struggle and student discourse. My belief is that next year, in year 2 of continued collaboration with TNTP, we're really looking forward to some increased achievement in the area of math. Our third goal, as you have already heard from my colleagues, is around City Connects, which we also embrace City Connects at our building. A shout out to Kristen Foley and Callie Martin, who have done a fabulous job, along with Megan Sudak. I thought it was quite impressive to show you the bottom chart to the right, the distribution of services. You can see the district or school provided services. The previous year had 1,589 services. This present year we had 2,135 services that were district or school provided. That's an increase of 546 services, and that is only for grades 5 and 7. Community partnerships. The first year we had 53. This year we had 679 partnerships, and that's an addition of 626 more services in place with City Connects. Okay. Moving forward to next year, our school improvement goals. The first one is a more targeted goal in the area of math, and I'm really looking at grades 7 and 8, and particularly our low socioeconomic students. So we're looking at high impact teaching strategies such as explicit instruction, a tier 2 class, which will be new next year for students that are in need of that support, and ongoing professional development with TNTP, including learning walks on a regular scheduled basis. Our second objective is empowering educators around high impact teaching strategies for all content areas. So again, we're looking at evidence of structured lessons, differentiation, and collaborative learning. We'll be continuing with our PLC meetings that are currently in place, consistent learning walks, and again, scaffolding to teaching to the edges or teaching to the top. And our last goal for the upcoming year is expanding civic understanding for our students at BMS. And so we're looking to develop a deeper sense of responsibility and community awareness and active participation in the democratic process. We're excited about this because, as you all know, middle schoolers have opinions that they would like to share. And so this is a great goal for our school. We're looking at increasing our student council, exploring some debate clubs around civic actions, and also establishing an advisory to the principal for more student voice and opinions.
Any questions for Ms. Oliver on the goals for the middle school?
Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Thomas to come speak for Beverly High School.
And my computer.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to give a quick acknowledgement to the middle school leadership and the elementary leadership. I have students in my own home in the middle school and the elementaries, and I get to see the other end of it day to day. So it's nice to see both sides of it and how it comes together. So, going back to our school improvement plan from this past year, our first goal was around using data to inform our instruction, to improve attendance, student engagement. Some of the highlights of that were around continued work around common assessments, extended into the consistency of scope and sequence work. Staff members base their student learning goals on developing best practices within small group instruction. That's something that was from administration. We had a lot of those conversations as we did walkthroughs and really promoted that this year. Another highlight was around further development of professional learning communities. We had those developed in our core subjects of English, math, science, and social studies. We've been able to expand that to almost every other department. We'll get the final couple departments on that track this coming year. We also developed kind of working documents around curriculum outlines for English, social studies, math, and science. They're updated regularly, kind of those working documents and more of a quick reference than a curriculum map. The English department launched their newly added reading selections. There was a lot of hard work the previous year to get that all ready, and this was the launch of it with a lot of success. And then we did a lot of professional development this year around Google Classroom, which we've all been using since COVID, and I'm sorry for mentioning COVID during this. You know, I thought we were kind of,
almost made it.
Yeah, almost made it. But one thing we found was we were inconsistent in where our knowledge base was with the teachers, so we were able to really even that out this year and really have a through line through all of our teachers. Next goal is around implementing learner-centered opportunities that focus on civic engagement, social justice, experiential learning. So this was the development, and I thought Miss Brotherton's here. She was one of the teachers that really was a linchpin in developing this for our Preserving Democracy course, which that'll roll into one of our goals going forward. So some of the other highlights in that were the expansion of our internship/mentorship. Missy Orr did a wonderful job with our students in their career pathways, getting them out into the community, those 11 students. So that was more of a pilot this year. We expanded our dual enrollment classes from 3 to 5, and further development of our career pathways program. As far as, like I mentioned, the design of the Preserving Democracy course, and there was continued development through facing history for our social studies and English departments. 9 faculty members were trained this year, and that's going to continue into next year. And lastly, utilizing SEL and UDL strategies to support instruction, and that some of the highlights around that were really bridging that the information that we gather on students and their performance in 9th grade and kind of handing that along to 10th grade teachers. And so this is the second year we've done that and kind of enhanced that process. We've done regular attendance meetings with the administrative staff, and that's something that has paid dividends as far as how we can really individually work with students, and so no one's really kind of falling between the cracks around that chronic absenteeism. A couple things we're proud of are as far as from discipline. We went from 154 infractions last year to 102, and we reduced days of suspension from 206 to 170, so pretty significant in those areas. And one more note around chronic absenteeism is we were able to decrease, and I say by at least 3%, because one group that is hard to capture the data from is last year's seniors. The way our data system works, it's a bigger ask than me being able to go back and dig into that quickly. So it's at least 3%. We think it's greater than that, but I couldn't say that with certainty. Moving forward to next year, 3 goals. First one's around empowering educators, and this is really around professional development as we continue to work towards the goal of unleveling 9th grade, and whether that's approved by school committee or not. These are good practices within the classroom, so we're looking at this as it's going to strengthen instruction no matter where we end up, and so that's kind of the lens that we have on it. We actually started that today with our administrative team, started that process of working with a consulting, professional development consulting group that's going to work with us next year. Our next goal number 2, is around innovative practices, and that's launching our Preserving Democracy course. That's the pilot, and so we'll have at least one section. We're hoping to get a couple more based on numbers, but right now we have one slated for sure. So it's the launch of that with the goal of this current freshman group, it would be their grad requirement over time. So with the development of that continuing. And then the last piece is creating conditions that promote equity, and that's really a big push, and this is something we've discussed in leadership across the district, is really acknowledging and celebrating different groups that represent our student body, and making sure that we're representative of all those groups, and how we celebrate that week to week, month to month, over the course of the year.
Any questions for Mr. Thomas? Just before we move off this, I want to thank all the principals for wonderful updates and so much rich information. They get, tonight is really the proudest night of the year for me as the assistant superintendent, because I get to brag and listen to all of the amazing work that's happening in every school. The principals get to brag about their teachers and how much they're working, and I think the biggest piece is, and I think you noticed when you hear the same stories over and over again, we've really worked hard, especially starting with COVID forward, in trying to build consistency across our schools and across our goals, but still leaving that independence to achieve them in a different way, depending on the building. And I think you saw that beautifully tonight. And I think that what also makes us proud is that the leaders, you saw your principals here tonight, and how closely they work with their teams and the collaboration that they have in order to achieve the vision that they've worked together to develop collaboratively. And so I just needed a moment to brag about all of our staff, because this is like Christmas morning when you're 4. This is my Christmas morning. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
I want to move now. As I had said, the PD's on here. I'm not going to go through all of the offerings, but it's there for you to look at. But what I did wanted to just quickly review with you is we've had a very strong turnout so far for a lot of the offerings that we've had, and this doesn't show like the curriculum groups that will be working or some of the issues that some of the items that are on there that people can take for PDPs. This is just more of a course update. And so far, we definitely have 2 of our 8 one-credit courses that will run, and there are an additional 3 that are right on the verge. And hopefully, after watching tonight at home, a few more people will be reminded to go and sign up for summer professional development. We're very excited about a week that we're going to be able to offer 4 days at Endicott College right after school gets out. We have 68 elementary teachers signed up for 2 days of writing, and not just elementary, actually, it's K through 8. And the focus is going to be on writing, but it's going to be delivered through our literacy coaches and our director of humanities here at the middle school. We have 38 teachers signed up to do a foundations refresher course, and that's in the morning. We're doing 2 sessions. An additional 21 teachers are going to take it in the afternoon. And we're bringing in a trainer from Wit and Wisdom that will be doing one of the days, the last day, on fluency, focusing on fluency and testing within Wit and Wisdom. We have 7 courses to the wonderful support that we receive from the Cummings Foundation. We have 7 people signed up to take 3-credit courses, an additional 3 people signed up to take 1-credit courses. Those include both classroom teachers and counselors, and we have a paraprofessional in there as well. We have 6 spaces for primary source. We've filled all of those, and they've given us an additional 2 spaces that we can use. We've really been able to provide a lot in professional development in the last 3 years, thanks to the Cumming Foundation, to ESSER 2 and 3, and from the High Quality Instructional Materials Grant. And we're going to miss all of that for the most part. We still have the Cummings Foundation, but with that wonderful support, we have been able to pay stipends for professional development, mainly in summer work, but also some throughout the school year. Last year, we spent $72,242, and this year we're on track to be over $80,000 by the end of summer. And then I just wanted to end, because this is our last meeting of the year before summer break, thanking all of you. And we had a split this year in January, so we had some parents that were on in the fall, and then we have some new representation. But really, I think this quote really says it all, that volunteers, they don't necessarily have the time, just have the heart. And we just wanted to say thank you, because of your heart, it helps us to keep our heart moving forward and on track. School's out. Keep learning. Keep those kids 2 to 3 hours a week. Make sure they're doing some reading or math throughout the summer vacation.
Thank
We
you
need
so
a motion
much.
to adjourn.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. I'll just call the roll real quickly. Kate Twombly?
Yes.
Matthew Weaver?
Yes.
Karen Robinson?
Yes.
Rachel Abel, yes. Ryan Redmond?
Yes.
And Ken-Ann Mackenzie DeFranza?
Yes.
7:53?
I know we adjourned, but I just wanted to specifically thank Kate, because this will be her last night on CISL as she assumes a new role in the district as the principal of Cove School.
You get to do that next year.
Okay. Thank you, and thank you everyone for your patience. We had a lot of great information coming out of our elementary, middle, and high schools for the district improvement plans. Sorry we ran a little bit over, but we'd like to welcome you all here this evening. This is Wednesday, June 12th already, 2024. This is a regular school committee meeting. I just want to make a quick announcement that we are using a hybrid remote meeting platform. This allows for remote participation and for public access to the open portions of our meeting. We also thank BevCam, as usual, for streaming us as well as broadcasting our meeting tonight. You can find that on Channel 6 or HD 1073 or also on their YouTube channel. So thank you, BevCam. Beginning June 16th, 2021, seems like forever ago, with the Act of 2021, Chapter 20, Acts of 2021, and with those acts being extended twice and then further extended until March 31st, 2025, local governments and boards are granted a provision to hold meetings remotely and to suspend the need for the quorum and chair to physically be present, but it does ask our body to use technical methods to allow for safe public access. As a note, Beverly also has prior approval through the Attorney General's office to have some members participate remotely, although when the act expires next year, we will need to have a quorum and the chair physically present. Tonight, again, is a regular school committee meeting. That does mean that we have an opportunity for members of the public to address the body. We ask that if you would like any comments read into the record, that you email residentvoice@beverlyschools.org in advance of the meeting, or you may come in person and sign up. We ask that you limit remarks to 3 minutes and that you remember to provide your name and address for the record. And it is an opportunity to speak to the committee and do not expect a reply. Today, we are joined by members of the school committee, various members of the district administration and leadership teams. I will conduct a roll call attendance just so we have an accurate record. I do want to ask that if you are joining us on the remote platform, and right now I think that's just Dr. Mackenzie DeFranza, to use your mute functionality and remember that any audio or video that you supply on this platform does become part of the meeting record. And now let me conduct the roll call. Seems like we have so many people here today. We'll start with the committee. Mayor Cahill is present.
Here.
Kimberly Coelho.
Here.
Ken Ann Mackenzie DeFranza.
Here.
Thank you. Karen Robinson. Here. Lorinda Visnick.
Here.
I'm Rachel Abel, and we do expect Dr. Jeffrey Silva in just a moment. On our administrative team, we have Dr. Suzanne Chirocek,
Here.
Dorothy Flaherty is still with us. Dr. Andre Morgan. Ms. Jean Sherburne is being distracted. Thank you. Is Emma Puglisi? Not tonight. She'll be joining us at our next meeting. Ms. Erin Brown. Oh, fantastic. Oh, congratulations to them both. And as promised, Dr. Jeffrey Silva has arrived. Every single principal is still here, it looks like. We'll just mark them as present. And Donna Bergeron, our executive secretary, thank you for joining us. Why don't we get right into it? I think that's a pretty good set of meeting records. We're going to do a slight reordering of our recognitions. We would like to lead off with our Bev Ed grant presentations and then recognize our public school retirees. And then we will hear from our student ambassadors. But if I could ask, I think I picked on her last time, but Ms. Sherburne, would you lead us in the pledge? Get us started. Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much for that, Ms. Sherburne. We're going to miss you. So why don't we invite right to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Doug Walker. I'm the president of the Beverly Education Foundation, and I guess for a public service announcement to start, if anyone has any library books before the end of the year, I'm standing here, you might as well return them now. I'd really like to start with one Honor a Teacher certificate before we really get into a lot of other things here. And I would like to call Jean Sherburne up, please. Jean, we owe you so much. And I'd like to give you this. You've kept track of our grant monies for years. You've ensured that they went out as planned. You highlight what Honor a Teacher does, give important feedback to teachers and paraprofessionals that they really need for reaching kids. Jean, your work has been noticed by the Beverly Education Foundation. It has been welcomed, and we wish to recognize and praise you for what you do. Without you, Beverly Education Foundation's work would be much more difficult. Thank you, and I want you to know this goes on your permanent record. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Every year, we're asked, sometimes we get contacted to help out some people. And this year I'd like to at least start with, I recently read a quote in the book James by Percival Everett that it was my summer reading for school, and I've already done it. I am an overachiever at this time. And I know I'm going to botch this, but I'd like to give you the main idea. James tells Huck Finn, when they're traveling down the Mississippi, that we should be measured, people should be measured by how we raise people up, not by how we push people down to get ahead. And that's really what the Bev Ed Foundation is all about. We strive to raise everybody up. We want to be the tide that rises and lifts all boats. So we typically are contacted to help out, and with the one-to-one program, the one-to-one laptop program has been one of the greatest assets students use in their learning at Beverly, except for the teachers, which is a greater asset. The foundation has prided itself on helping to narrow the digital divide. So tonight we would like to continue to support the one-to-one program to continue help narrow the digital divide and help just a few more rise upwards. If Judy Miller is here, or I will give this to Dr. Trocek. We just finished our first year of a 10-year, $300,000 Cummings grant. This grant has been used to fund areas such as nutrition, social and emotional well-being, health, math, science, robotics, science fairs, reading, locally place-based learning, conservation, and stewardship. It also helps to fund further professional development for Beverly teachers. The Beverly Public Schools and the Foundation have achieved great things for our students. I would like to recognize also in this Lisa Oliver and Kate Twombly and the team of teachers at the Beverly Middle School who met and visited with the Cummings people in their visiting team. Beyond the Cummings grant, Beverly Education Foundation supports the schools through some smaller grants to teachers in the parent-teacher grant program. So Anna Green usually is here for this, and once again, I'm going to try and do her justice. She does a great job at this, but it's always fun for me to help out too. This year we had an unprecedented number of applications. Woe that we could not fund all of them. Of the 39 applications, we were able to fund 24. In supporting the schools, Beverly Education Foundation is awarding almost $21,000 tonight. I'll start with the grants awarded to North Beverly since Tara Fitzpatrick cannot be here tonight. The first one, if I could call it, teacher Julie Siama. Julie wrote a grant. I kind of do this backwards. Julie wrote a grant supporting reading and literacy for approximately 300 students by improving reading resources. It's called Decodable Text for Older Students. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next grant will fund materials to augment and meet Massachusetts frameworks in social emotional health curriculum. I'd like to call out Claire Rosenbaum and Kelly Beltoff. Can I get it? Social emotional books. Thank you so much. Next, Kurt Anderson wrote a grant which will fund a couple CPR mannequins to teach the circulatory system and CPR and AED use. As I get older, I think this is a really, really important skill for everybody to have. If Kurt is here. The next one, we've funded part of this partially before, but this is a really cool grant written by Kelsey O'Hare. This is a partial grant that helps support the purchase of 20 ukuleles for the 3rd and 4th grade. Music, I think, in Beverly is one of the strongest and coolest things that kids get to do. So the ukuleles will go to great use. Thank you. I give this to you. Lauren Lorazano wrote a grant called Playground Communication, and this grant funds an all-weather augmentative communication board that will be used to increase the inclusion and equity on the playground for all of the students there. Lauren? My last one here. Also written by Vanessa Norton. This grant called Steamroller Machines, and this is interesting to me. This grant will support the AIM classrooms in providing hug boxes to help the regulating student sensory systems to reduce stress and anxiety. Is Vanessa here? Yes. I hope I summarized that well enough. Thank you so much. I would like to thank the board of Beverly Education Foundation and the student reps that have done so much all year long to help bring everything to fruition. And I look forward to working with them this coming year. Next, I would like to bring up, who would like to come up next? Oh, come on up. Don't be shy.
Hello, I'm Sarah Aiello. I'm the AIRS representative, and I'm
presenting 2 grants tonight. The first one was written by the parent of a current kindergarten student, and it's called At Home Lively Letters. If you're not familiar with Lively Letters, it's a reading program that's introduced in kindergarten to introduce kids to the letters, the sounds they make, and it's done through music and characters, and I loved it so much when my kids did it that I still have all of theirs, proof. So it's a huge hit. And so the At-Home Lively Letters grant would allow continuity at home. It would supplement the lessons through CDs, ebooks, phonics games, coloring pages, and practice packets. And so this will go towards our incoming kindergartners and hopefully for many years to come. So thank you for writing the grant, and congratulations to Karen Chung Larrabee. Thank you. Okay. And the second grant I'm presenting tonight is a continuation from a grant that we funded last year, and has since, some of the other elementary schools have sort of picked up on something similar. It's our Number Sense program, and that was submitted by our math coach, Alex Thompson. And it created toolkits, math toolkits, and again, I have one to show. Every student at AIRS has one, and it allows kids to practice number fluency at home and their math skills. And Mrs. Tompkins did a good job of creating challenges over winter break and February and April vacation to encourage families to use them at home. So we got a lot of photos sent in of the kids using the kits at home. And again, as a parent, I can say that my kids also really love this. So this grant will continue that program for our incoming kindergartners and any new students to AIRS. And again, hopefully for many years to come. So I know Alex couldn't be here tonight, but Mrs. Hart.
Hi, Andy Cooper. I'm treasurer, subbing for the middle school and for McEwen. So again, I just want to reiterate the quality of the grant applications and the grants were just fantastic this year. And being able to supplement it, as Doug said, with the Cummings money, it was really great to be able to really, I was almost doubling the amount of money we gave out year to year. So that's terrific. So the first one, I'll start with McEwen. Is Gina here? Gina Anderson? Okay. This is for their Spur Garden, and it's the grant is to enhance their beds to help with the kids in learning and growing and stuff like that. So this is terrific. So thank you. In the middle school, this one is near and dear to my heart. It's for Nature's Classroom. Both my daughters were in Cove and went to Nature's Classroom, and you know, I worked a lot, so I wasn't around. So Kathy, my wife, would say, "You're going to be a chaperone at every one of these things." And so I was a chaperone, and I loved it. It was just terrific. So I am so glad that, you know, Chris and Scott and with Lisa's help are continuing that. So thank you. These two are both for the middle school. Graphic novels, I don't know, I never read a graphic novel as a kid, but I have since, and it is a great way to get kids into literature, into the experience. I think I read, at my wife's book group, read Fahrenheit 451 and a graphic novel. And so I thought this is terrific. So thank you, Alex. And the last one I'm doing is on robotics, really picking up speed and momentum in Beverly Robotics. The high school's doing a bunch of stuff. The middle school's doing a bunch of stuff. This is for Vex Robotics to get the kids more engaged, better equipment, and so this is terrific. So, Ryan, are you here? Great. Thank you.
Good evening, Mike Osborne. I am the Centerville rep to Beverly Ed. I have the honor of awarding 3 grants to Centerville this year. The first is the Fall Kindergarten Learning Kits. This will provide a kindergarten learning night to introduce kindergarten families to the Centerville community, as well as provide them with kits containing activities that meet the needs of the whole child, including but not limited to reading, writing, fine motor skills, language, and social emotional development. And they will be distributed during learning nights where the kindergarten communities will come together, share dinner together, and engage with teachers and all sorts of other people in the community, the school community, and also go home with these kits to continue learning at home. So I don't know if she's here, Miss Cynthia Santasuaso, or if she's not, Julie Smith. The second one is the first grade team at Centerville, Kaylee Melanson, Dina Stavis, and Julie Grant, decodable text advanced learners, to provide extra resources to above level readers in the first grade. These are decodables, and I wish that my son was not going into the second grade and could take advantage of this year. But I don't see any of those, so Julie. And the third is to support the Express Yourself program. Not sure if anyone is familiar with this. It is a local nonprofit that immerses young people in the arts. It's geared towards social emotional learning for students who have been identified as needing intensive therapeutic support. They will develop large-scale artwork as well as performance pieces over a host of activities and weeks with this program. So we are excited to support them, and best of luck. So Julie again. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Natalie Parmersheim with Cove. I have 4 grants to award this evening. The first is called Math Resources for Fluency in Numbers. And this grant award goes to Heather Colton, Cove's math coach. And this grant will provide additional math tools that will go out to all grade levels to improve fluency and number sense for all our students at Cove School. So congrats, Heather. Our second grant this evening is called Potato Hill Poetry. And this grant award goes to Jennifer Gilligan and the 4th grade team at Cove. And this continues the Potato Hill Poetry program. Basically, this grant provides additional supplemental support to bring in a resident poet, and he comes in and provides 5 different lessons to all 4 of the 4th grade classrooms, and he does a wonderful job just introducing poetry and learning the intricacies of writing poetry, and the students get to showcase the learning at the end with a poetry cafe, complete with berets and all kinds of fancy things, so it's a really great program. Congratulations, Jennifer. Our third grant is called the ECHI Expanding Expression Toolkits, and this grant award goes to Deirdre Patch, our language pathologist at Cove. And this goes along with expanding expression tools, or EETs. And these toolkits have been named Ichis, and they're basically strands of beads that are used as mnemonic devices. And all students and teachers at Cove will have access to these kits. And in those kits, there's these strands, different posters and stickers and other accessories that get used along with this learning tool. So congratulations, Deirdre. And our fourth and final grant is Change is Simple. And this grant award goes to Doreen Calvani and the fourth grade team at Cove to support the Change is Simple program. And this grant provides additional funding to bring in 4 separate lessons to each of our 4 fourth grade classrooms. And they deliver really important learning opportunities about our environment and sustainability and climate. So congratulations and welcome back, Doreen. Thank you.
Hello. How am I in here? My name is Ann Gavin. I'm the Beverly High School representative. I loved reading the grants this year. They were amazing. Kudos to teachers, students, parents, everyone that wrote them. So different and so interesting. It is my pleasure to present the 2 BHS grants. First, we have the BHS Peabody Essex Museum Visit Partnership Grant by Miss Marini. It's designed for our AP Studio Art students. Students get to work with a docent. I know I had to look that up a couple years ago, but to explore the PEM collections and exhibits. They have time to sketch and can visit the PEM at any time. There is a culminating exhibit in the spring at the PEM. It's a very exciting program, and BevEd is thrilled to be able to sponsor it again. Is Ms. Marini here? And the font, the writing on my paper keeps getting larger every year. Here we go. Second, the VHS Robotics Team grant proposal by sophomore Miranda Harrington. Very exciting, women in STEM, love it. Mr. Pellegrino and Mr. Riley run and oversee the robotics team. Miranda wrote of revitalizing the robotics team. They took a hit during COVID and are really trying to gear back up. They need new supplies and better equipment to be competitive. Their goal is to start competing at the first robotics competitions again. If you've never been to one, go. Mrs. It's an incredible learning experience, and it's just wild. BevEd is thrilled to support the team. And Mr. Pellegrino and Miranda.
Hello, everyone. My name is Catherine Barrett, and I've served on the Beverly Education Foundation Board for over 10 years now. This is my favorite night because we work so hard to raise funds, and we give it all out tonight. My husband told me if I kept it short, I would get the loudest applause so that people could get home for the Celtics game. So I am taking his advice. I'm actually filling in for Liesl Hacker, who's the Hannah School parent. I'm presenting those grants. I am a former retired Hannah School parent, so I'm very excited to present these. The first grant is presented for kindergarten readiness, and this grant will support, with collaboration, the Hannah staff in different areas. Families will be provided with different activities that meet the needs of the whole child. In addition to learning activities for reading and math, families will be provided with materials to support fine motor skills, language skills, and social emotional development. And this goes to Maeve Moore and Marissa Ratti. The second grant is called River Rocks, and this grant is to study the aquatic ecosystems inside the building at Hannock School. They do have the outdoor classroom. Once students learn the basics of the river habitat and the transfer of energy within, they can apply that knowledge to broader habitats available on school grounds and external structures of both plants and animals, which support their behavior, survival, growth, and reproduction. Students will study the role that erosion and deposition within a landscape over time. The river tank would function as a way to observe the actual erosion of sediments within a smaller arena, promoting connections to larger areas in the community and globally. Students will be able to observe and interpret patterns related to the transfer of energy in organisms and patterns of change over time. This grant will support a strong foundation for fifth grade students by studying ecosystems, interactions, energy, and dynamics. It would also make fourth grade students' science knowledge and scientific writing even more complex the following year. And this grant goes to Amy Powers. The third grant is called Hannah Beautification, and this grant supports the work of creating a mural on the exterior walls of Hannah Elementary School that includes the school motto as well as images which represent the global diversity of the world our students are a part of. The project is one component of a multi-part school beautification effort meant to further create a positive school culture and increase school pride. And this goes to the Hannah co-PTO presidents, Amanda Lennon and Cassandra Ballantyne. And the final grant is actually a collaborative grant amongst all 5 elementary schools. It's called Hooray for Health, and this pilot program actually started at Hannah School with Beverly Education Foundation funding. Now it's expanded to all 5 elementary schools to support healthy eating choices and exposure to new foods via sampling offered for students. It's a nutrition and health education program designed to help students learn skills to support whole body health, positive body image, and good nutrition practices. And this grant goes to all 5 schools, so there's not one person. So I'm not sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bev Ed, and thank you for taking the time this evening to be with us. If you would indulge us for a moment, we'd like to recognize some of our educators and retirees, and then we'll have a brief recess so that we can do some photos and chat. Dr. Churchak, would you? Thank you.
Let's turn it this way as I talk to them. All right, I'd rather talk to you. First of all, thank you all for coming. Bev Ed, my deepest gratitude for that. It's always overwhelming to sit and listen to all those grants as they're given out. It's really an amazing opportunity. We also have some of our educators who are retiring, and so we want to recognize those folks, and a few of them are here. So first I'll recognize the folks that are in, that have come to join us tonight, and then I'll read through just the list of the other folks that are doing it. So first we have Julia Brotherton. Julia has been with us for 25 years of service, and appreciate everything that, come on up. Appreciate everything that you've done. I gotta find the one with your name on it. They're actually named this year, so there you go. This is for you. Congratulations. I wish you well. Thinking about you on your trip already. I don't know. It's making me very jealous. But thank you for everything that you've done. And in addition to being a teacher at the high school, Julia is also the president of our BTA. So I want to recognize her for the work that she's done that way too. This next one is for Carol Chalker. Is Carol here? Come on up, Carol. I have to tell you, You're not going to believe it, but Carol and I spent years together at the Briscoe Middle School when I was a team chair. I worked with you for many, many years. I'm so excited for you entering into your retirement. Carol has 29 years of service, and so really, and her work as a school psychologist has really been so valuable to our students, to our community, to our families, and so we thank you so much for everything that you've done. I appreciate it. And I have the next one is Janet Doig. Janet, I know you're here. I saw you earlier. Come on up and be recognized. Janet has been a paraprofessional in our district, 17 years of service. Amazing work that you do. We know what the work of paraprofessionals is like, and so grateful to you for all you have done. We have a little token for you here and wish you the best. Feeling a little bit like I might have done this one before. Sue Killam, if you want to come on up. I believe we've done this once before. For those of you that don't know, Sue Killam has been with the Beverly Public Schools. Are you ready? 54 years of service in education. I don't even know that we've had anyone with that many years under her belt. Sue and I worked together as teachers at the Air School. I was the principal at the Air School, and Sue has retired as a teacher and then came back and has served with us how many years as a paraprofessional? 9. Just giving back, continually giving back. The number of students, the number of lives that you've impacted, I don't know that we can even count them. It's been 1,500. She can count them. That's why she's still doing this work. I love you. I appreciate everything you've done for us, and I'm really happy for you in your second retirement as you go. So I don't know what the next level of retirement will be for you. All right, and then I will read the list. I don't think any of other folks have joined us tonight, so I'm going to read the list of names for other folks that are retiring. Carol Bucci is, I believe, also like Mrs. Killen, retiring for the second time after 12 years of service. Margaret Johnson is retiring after 26 years of service. Pam Padavani, 21 years of service. Kate Shea, 21 years of service. Janice Swanson, 21 years of service, and Trish Regan, 37 years of service at Beverly High School. So I congratulate all of them. Really appreciate all that they have done for us. We do have 2 more retirees in the house. I don't know. And so first I'd like to call once again to the podium, Jean Sherburne. Come on up. You're a little wet. Sorry. Jean has served as our business manager here, and before that in another community. 13 years of service here in Beverly, though, with us.
26 overall.
26 overall. As it was said before, I don't know where we would be without Jean. I don't know what I will do without Jean every day. Her work, her smile, her stories, her friendship, all of those things are so important to us, and her service to the Beverly Public Schools, really, we really appreciate everything they've done, Jean. So. She's somewhere. And we have one more. Erin Sweeney, please join me up here. Erin Sweeney is retiring as the principal of the Cove School. Erin, you've been amazing. I do tell this story all the time, not to embarrass her, but it was the pandemic. We were all locked in our houses. I was actually living in my mother's basement, helping my mother out during that time. And I picked up the phone, and we had made some changes and I said, "Hey, Erin, how do you feel about being the principal at Cove School?" And she's like, "What?" And I said, "I really think it would be a great fit. We would really love to have you." She stepped up. She took on a role in probably some of the most difficult of times that we've ever had for leadership, for educators, for everybody, and appreciate everything that you've done. Wishing you the best in your retirement, and I know we'll be seeing each other often. Yes. So.
Yeah, thank you so much, BevCam. We're going to take a 10-minute recess so we can offer our congratulations and get a few photos. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you so much. Such a wonderful time of year. We have all of those excellent recognitions, the grants awards, and now we have a presentation from our student ambassadors. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm queuing up our slides for our folks, if I can get them to share. There we go. Love when that works. All right, so thank you all. First of all, this is in one way a recognition, but also more of an information sharing and presentation. So I wanted to, we have been working for the last 2 years with a student ambassador cabinet, and Alexa Faletra is here to tell us a lot. Faletra, I did it. I got it right. And she's good representing the group, so she's going to share some information with you and let you understand better what the group has been doing. But I also want to take a moment and thank all of them. A big shout out. The work that they do for us is really helpful. So I'm going to turn it over to you. You're all set. And I'm going to just advance your slides for you as you go. Okay?
So I'm Alexa. I'm a junior at the high school, and I'm part of the superintendent's ambassador cabinet. For the past 2 years, we've been a group of students who have been brought together by Dr. Chotek and Dr. Morgan as a group to voice our thoughts on our community and where we think that we could find positive change. And so to become a member of this cabinet, we applied. I applied 2 years ago and I became a member of this cabinet. We needed letters of recommendation to apply and answer questions on what we thought needed to be improved and how we would use our voice in the school. And usually the cabinet's been about 10 to 15 members of all grades who met together. This year we've been meeting bi-weekly during our advisory times, and we've been giving input on important topics brought up by Dr. Chotek and Dr. Morgan, and we've been taking on projects that we feel reflect the student body. Up here is a list of this year's cabinet members. This year we are especially senior heavy, and so unfortunately we've had a lot of seniors leaving, but we think that that gives a lot of opportunity for next year to fill the spots with underclassmen who will have new ideas and better ways to voice their change. Our mission has been bringing student voice to the school because the teachers now are a different generation. We think that our voice might have a different perspective that we could bring. We think that bringing modern thought into the school system is very important, and also hearing student voices can help build trust between staff and students and help the students feel a sense of belonging in our school system. And seeing students' perspective, we think there could be a lot of value in hearing the little things that might go unnoticed by a staff, but the students see and deal with every single day. And actively engaging students in the school community is very important, and getting them involved in the things that are going around in this building that we're in every day. And also aligning students and staff through talking and collaborating over different ideas has been very helpful over the last 2 years. This year we took on the project of finding a place in our curriculum that we felt was lacking. The school committee approved a course to be held that would fill the civic requirement for a civics project, and our cabinet got together and talked about course ideas that we thought we needed and things in our curriculum that we thought were lacking and would be very important to see in a course and something we'd be interested to see in a course. And we found that those ideas aligned a lot with the Preserving Democracy course that was being discussed with a group led by Mr. Casey. And so we got with that group and we talked about our ideas about the course and what we thought would be important to add, and we gave them some ideas while also understanding that our two courses were very similar, and just some examples of what we would like to see and how we'd like the class to be set up to make it as effective as possible to meet its requirement. And we completely endorse this course, and we feel that our ideas have been accurately represented in this course, and we're very proud of how it has turned out.
All right. I have to say, while I hope this is a great experience for the students, it's certainly a great experience for me. I get the opportunity to connect with students in a setting where we can exchange ideas. They participated in, as well as this part of the course, they were part of the feedback cohorts that we solicited information from for our district improvement plan. They took part in conversations about the different things like leveling classes in the building. There's other opportunities for coming forward. So we found this is a really great way to kind of have student voice come. We're going to be sending out where's Dr. Morgan? We're sending out those applications in the next week. and opportunities for students to join. We really would encourage anyone to join us. I think our structure was actually enhanced by the advisory program and the shifts and changes in it. And so, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful for all the students that took part in it. And I'm really grateful you could come and share all the ideas with the school committee. So I don't know if anybody has any particular questions that they have for Alexa or.
Either for you, Dr. Trocek, or for Alexa, do you find that you get a lot of the same type of student, or do you find that you're getting students from different levels? Like if you have to get recommendations, you have to put a lot of effort. Are you finding that you get like college prep kids and?
No, I think it was very intentional, particularly in the first year. In the very first year, we sort of set a rubric and we said, we need to make sure we have representation of this and representation of that and we had equal number of grade levels. We had freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors. This past year, we had interest from a lot of folks, but we do feel it's a pretty diverse group. We have, some students who are very, very college-oriented and very focused on that. We had students that were in our OTC. We had students that were athletes. We had a lot of different groups represented. So it is our goal to kind of keep it very much representative of our student body and of the interests that our students have, not necessarily just, in demographic, but in interest in what they are pursuing and what they want to see done. But the conversations it is amazing to sit with 15 high school students and talk about things that are really important and hear their perspectives and hear their ideas. So it's been really great.
Thank you for presenting night before finals.
All right. That's why we would have had more, but everyone's home studying.
Yeah, they got to study.
This is for you, my friend, and we have them all for everybody.
Thank you.
For coming in. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay, and I believe we have another recognition.
We do
Dr.
have one more
Trocek.
recognition. The
Yeah.
crowd left, but that's okay because we're all here. We just want to definitely take a moment and recognize Delia for the work that she's done here with us. I don't know, I wasn't sure if it's ongoing, if it's.
It is ongoing. I was pleased to learn that she'll be joining us next year. So this is a recognition for this year. And with that recognition, you are now free to do your report.
Thank you. Last week, Beverly High School said goodbye to the seniors with graduation last Sunday, June 2nd. AP exams are all over, transitioning AP classes to more project or lab-based. Meetings for next year's AP classes have been beginning so that students can get an understanding of expectations for next year and get the summer work assigned to be ready for the fall. Spring sports have all wrapped up at this point and held banquets at the high school or other local venues. Many teams and athletes had a great season, and many athletes were recognized by the NEC. Fall sports are beginning to host informational meetings for current and rising high schoolers, and I've seen some sports have already begun their tryouts. The Music and Performing Arts Department held their end-of-year banquet last week. The music department is very excited that Pippin won Best Student Pip Band in the state out of many schools that submitted for judging. And for the rest of the year, today was our last day of traditional classes. Final exams begin tomorrow. For our final schedule, students will attend 2 exams, each for a little under 2 hours, and then will be allowed to stay for makeups or leave after their exams are done. And then next Thursday is our makeup exam day and last day of school for all students.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience with us tonight as we went through all those recognitions. You are free to go, and we are going to jump to our teachers next.
Yes, who are also patiently waiting, so thank you very much.
Very patient and need to get home. So thank you, Delia. And the first superintendent, you look like you have a recommendation for us.
I certainly do. So just tonight, I have 2 overnight field trips that I'm bringing forward. First, I have an overnight field trip, Beverly High School group going to Italy. So the superintendent recommends the approval of the proposed BHS overnight field trip, Taste of Italy. It might sound familiar, but they're here for their 2026 trip. So they're going to share some information with all of you. And it showed up. Awesome.
Yep, there it is.
So there you go.
Hi, so I'm Christine Kelly and
Joanna Sieber.
yeah. So we work in the culinary department at Beverly High School, and we're trying to put together the Taste of Italy overnight field trip, which would happen in February vacation of 2026. We work with many different levels of high school students in culinary arts, from freshmen all the way to seniors. And we've taken them through a lot of culinary modules, and we feel like this would be a really good opportunity for the students to have the ability to tour pretty much northern Italy. And in this presentation, there's a lot of cooking that's going to happen there, as well as tours of facilities of some of the food items that we use, like balsamic vinegar and
vinegar, Parma ham factory, prosciutto. They get to go to a couple of different cooking classes and work with locals. Just lots of different tours. And it is food centered, so it's through Explorica, which I know has been used before.
In the middle school.
In the middle school, and this one is specifically culinary focused, which
is perfect.
It's perfect for us.
Do you have any questions? The tour itself includes the accommodations, the airfare, their breakfast as well as their dinner, and then a tour guide with us the entire time, and all of our tours that we're going to be going to, as well as the dinners and the lunches and the cooking classes. So we think that it will be very robust in enrollment when we actually are able to present it to the students.
Do school committee members have some questions about the trip? Ms. Visnick?
I have our normal kind of, I'll ask one and maybe somebody else will ask some other ones. What do you have in your magic pocketbook of fundraising ideas in order that some children who might not otherwise be able to afford to go have an opportunity to go?
Yes, that's a good question. So being in culinary, we have lots of ways to fundraise. So we're developing some ideas about in the fall and next winter of how to sell some products, go to farmers markets, do a gift basket that we have seen done in other classrooms to help fundraise. They also have scholarships available through Explorica that students can apply for. And they have a really good payment plan as well, $50 down, and then there's like, they can, if you look through it, they can pay $50 a month, they can do a 4-month payment plan. So it's spread out, and we were asking so early, it's really giving them the opportunity to work, a lot of the students in high school work, through the summer and give them a lot of time to be able to kind of pay for it. And there's a lot of trips that happen at the high school or that are available. So we feel like if we got ahead of it, that if somebody really wanted to be part of this, they would have enough time to save up for it.
Go ahead, Mayor Cahill.
I'd thank you, and I'd say we'd just be both encouraging of and willing to try to help out or be involved in those kind of fundraising efforts, including eating.
Yeah.
Paying to come eat.
We had ideas to do some dinners and have kids eat food and sell tickets or take-home meals or whatever it is. So.
Thank you.
I think I'm still traumatized from my culinary arts class volunteering to make the tortellinis for a fundraising dinner. I cannot get that stress out of my system. It was a lot. It was a lot to make tortellinis.
It's supposed to be de-stressing when you cook.
It was supposed to be, but they weren't all the equal thickness. I don't know. Anyway, I did have a question, and it looks like you're very smart on the choice of dates around February vacation week, because we haven't yet set the calendar, but that's a pretty safe bet that but I'm also noticing Valentine's Day, so hopefully you get some chocolate. I don't know if it is known for their chocolate, but maybe something along those lines. I think I would echo the mayor's offer that the school committee would love to be able to support opportunities to make sure every student that wants to go has the opportunity to go. And since no one else has said it yet, I will be a chaperone if you need one. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Visnick.
This information is in the packet, but people who are following along at home, and there are a million of them, I am sure. Can you speak quickly to the ratio of chaperones, speaking of chaperones, ratio of chaperones to students, and as well as whether there will be any medical personnel with you? Those are the other standard 2 questions, people. I gave you the opportunity to ask them.
It's Explorica. We kind of know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and their chaperone ratio is 1 to 6, and at the high school it's 1 to
8.
1 to 8.
Yeah.
So it'd be around there. And then we do have a nurse at the high school that has offered to chaperone too. So we have someone
on
a
board,
medical professional with us.
Fantastic. Madam President, I'd like to make a motion. I'd
Yes.
like to submit the motion suggested by the superintendent of schools.
To approve the trip,
Yes.
Taste of Italy,
Second.
February 13th through 20th, 2026. Second, Mayor Cahill. Are there any other questions? I'm just looking online for our colleague. Okay, I will start to call the roll. Mayor Cahill,
Yes.
Kimberly Coelho,
Yes.
Ken Ann McKenzie DeFranza.
Yes.
Thank you. Karen Robinson,
Yes.
Jeffrey Silva. Yes. Lorinda Visnick.
Yes.
Rachel Abel, yes. 7-0. Enjoy your trip. And
Thank
remember,
you.
We're here for you.
Thank you.
And Dr. Trocheck, I believe we have another
I
exciting
do.
trip.
I have a second. I have another overnight field trip. This one is the field trip by the Beverly Middle School to Puerto Rico. I believe that Edgar is here to speak on behalf of the group. The superintendent recommends the approval of the proposed BMS overnight field trip to San Juan, Puerto Rico, April 21st, 2025 to April 25th, 2025. So I'll turn it over to you, Edgar.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. I'm here representing my colleagues from the foreign language department. I, up to last year, was a member of that, and now I work with them closely. For the last couple of years, we've been able to take a group of students from the middle school, 8th graders, who take Spanish, to Puerto Rico. And it's gone fantastically well, to the point where we now have, over the second year, 50% more interest from students to attend this trip. The first year we did have 33 students interested. We have a 6-to-1 ratio of chaperone to students. This past year we actually took the limit, which was 36, and we had a wait list of about 11 kids who could not go because we could only take so many. Hence why we've put in the request to extend it to possibly February vacation and April vacation, because we did discuss an opportunity, if there is there, to, if we have more than the number that we can take in 1 week, that we could split it up into 2 so everybody would have an opportunity to go. Over the past couple of years, the students have had phenomenal experiences. Some of them that I can speak to after this year, we had kids on the trip who had actually never even left Beverly or Massachusetts before in their lives, so, or hadn't even been on an airplane before. I know this is an overnight trip. We've been very good about medical attention. There's medical support on site when we arrive there. Our travel does take us in an airplane, and we stay in there with hotel. In the hotel, the Explorica program provides us security overnight to make sure that all of our students and staff are safe. Not to say that it's an unsafe place, but we want to make sure that everybody's good. We've also done a lot of fundraising over the last couple of years, that we have now a complimentary kitty that helps support some of the expenses that some of our students haven't been able to cover in the past. And in addition to that, we will continue to do fundraising, such as bake sales, donations, SNAP raise, and through other organizations that would help us make sure that it's affordable and accessible to all students. I have gone in the last couple of trips, and it's just been a phenomenal experience. So I'm here to request your authorization to do it a third time. Third time's a charm. For the February 2025 winter vacation dates, and for April 2025 spring. Do we call it spring break? Spring vacation? Sure. We can call that. I don't want to call it spring break because it sounds different, but the April break week. That's it.
Thanks, Mayor Cahill.
I move we approve this trip.
Thank you.
Or these trips.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any questions or comments? Ms. Visnick.
Just want to comment that Edgar addressed all my questions.
He was taking notes back there.
Questions?
I've done this a few times. I'm prepared.
Anyone else? I'll just say my own student enjoyed the inaugural trip very much. Thank you for traveling with our students and opening up the world to them, especially to those students who haven't had the opportunity to leave Massachusetts yet. So thank you. Appreciate it.
We had a student who'd never seen a turtle in the ocean. Big turtle about the size of this table. Oh, there's a turtle. Yeah.
Fantastic. Great. Fantastic. It sounds like we're ready to vote. I'll call the roll. Mayor Cahill.
Yes.
Ms. Coelho.
Yes.
Dr. McKenzie Franza.
Yes.
Ms. Robinson? C.
Yes.
Gracias.
Yes. Dr. Silva? Yes. Ms. Visnick?
Yes.
And Ms. Abel, yes, 7-0. Enjoy your trip or trips.
Thank you. I will keep you posted on the progress. Have a
Okay.
great night.
Thank you. You too. Thank you. Have a great evening. Okay, we'll return to our regularly scheduled agenda real quickly. I haven't seen any members of the public stick with us, but I will make a call if there's anyone here that wishes to speak to the school committee. No one is present. We also have some meeting records that we will need to approve. The first set is from our public hearing regarding the budget. That was our May 8th, 2024. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Meeting records. Thank you, Mayor Cahill. Thank you, Ms. Visnick. Were there any edits or corrections? I would say that there is a link to the rather extensive list of speakers and topics. It's maybe not captured if you just printed it out, but the online version, you can see that whole summary. Any other edits or corrections? Anything? Okay, we'll do a roll call. Mayor Cahill,
Yes.
Ms. Coelho,
Yes.
Dr. Mackenzie DeFranza,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson,
Yes.
Dr. Silva, Ms. Visnick,
Yes.
and Ms. Abel, yes, 7-0, thanks. That same evening, we had a very abbreviated regular school committee meeting. I'm looking to approve the meeting records for the regular school committee meeting, May 8th, 2024.
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Cahill, Ms. Visnick. Were there any edits or corrections to this very short meeting record? Seeing none, I will call the roll. Mayor Cahill,
Yes.
Kimberly Coelho,
Yes.
Canan Mackenzie DeFranza,
Yes.
Karen Robinson,
Yes.
Jeffrey Silva, Lorinda Visnick,
Yes.
Rachel Abel, yes, 7-0. Thank you. We'll enter those into our records. We also have items by consensus this evening as listed on our agenda. These are warrants A, B, C, D, and E for the amounts shown. Motion to approve as a group.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Visnick.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Generally, we don't have any questions, so I'll call the roll. Mayor Cahill,
Yes.
Kimberly Coelho,
Yes.
Canan Mackenzie DeFranza. Is that a yes? I'm sorry. Yes, okay. I lost your volume. Karen Robinson.
Yes.
Jeffrey Silva.
Yes.
Lorinda Visnick.
Yes.
Rachel Abel, yes, 7-0. And then, Dr. Churchick, did you have anything else for your
was
superintendent
it.
report this evening?
Thank you.
Okay. For the school committee, you guys may find these familiar. I'm bringing back for our second reading and vote tonight our review of the 4 policies. As I said during the first reading, this is our opportunity to say that we've reviewed them. And I specifically picked them out because we will next be looking at our norms and protocol. And the mayor had inquired about where a paragraph lived. And so for policy BA, which is the 4th policy in this set that we're going to hopefully approve tonight. We have the school committee operational goals. There are essentially 4 paragraphs. The 4th paragraph reads, "The mayor will endeavor to promote said goals and follow the policies of the school committee as established herein, recognizing that the mayor also has a responsibility under the city charter, ordinances, the state constitution, and Massachusetts general laws, and ultimately may be guided generally by his/her obligations to all residents and taxpayers of the city and the city as a municipal corporation." So that was something that we had approved in a prior reading of this file BA or policy BA. And when we get to the norms and protocol, there was a footer that had erroneously referred to a bunch of different policy numbers, which was our old numbering, but really it's referring to section B. So the footer is this operational goals policy. I know we're doing some effort to clean up the his/her with pronoun there, for instance, but I wasn't sure if anyone had, during the second reading, any changes to propose on policies ADDA, ADDAR, and BA and AE. Do you want me to read them all? Yes.
I just have a question.
Sure.
The blue highlight, that paragraph you just read, that was already there. That's not, you're not highlighting it.
None of these
as
are
a
changed.
change.
No.
None of these have changed.
None of them have changed. MASC went through a review and they left them as they were. So there's no proposed changes. That was just a highlight to tie it back to the norms and protocols question.
And so when, again, just a little itty bitty policy kind of procedure review, is that we still review these, even if we don't make any changes, we vote to accept them, and then the date last
Reviewed.
updated or some such thing on the bottom gets updated, and we put it back into the bin of mini
Yep.
policies.
Right. And so the only change that I really saw was the his, her could be a there, but we might at one point just do that for all of our policies.
Right.
Or
Okay, thank you.
make a proposal tonight. Is there a motion to mark these as reviewed?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Visnick and Ms. Coelho. Are there any comments, concerns, questions? Mayor Cahill.
Your suggestion that we may look to kind of throughout all our policies, change his, hers to theirs, is that a motion we need to make right here and now? Should we make it tonight and
don't-
be done with it?
It wasn't really on the agenda to do that. I think that we will have another one of those like we did a year ago. We'll just do a find and replace. I think resident and citizen and some of those other concerns, we just need to catalog all those changes that we want to do, and we'll do
Sounds good.
a bulk.
Another example was parent to caregiver.
Caregiver, yes.
Parent guardian to caregiver.
Yep. And I think we have a lot of the committee, school committee, Beverly School Committee, there's a lot of those little things. We will do those en masse at a different date. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to mark these 4 policies as reviewed as of tonight, which is the 12th of June. Are there any other questions or comments before I call the roll? Okay, I'll start calling the roll. Mayor Cahill,
Yes.
Ms. Coelho,
Yes.
Dr. Mackenzie DeFranza,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson,
Yes.
Dr. Silva,
Yes.
Ms. Visnick?
Yes.
And Ms. Abel, yes. Thank you so much. So now we'll turn our attention to our norms and protocol document. On this one, I had some nitpicky edits that I've shown in the track changes each of the 3 times that we've tried to get this on the agenda. And it's just been bumped along. So I would propose that we adopt this as shown with the edit, so I'll clean the edits out, and then have it sent around for signature. However, I don't know if we want to be more specific in our reference to section B of our policy manual, if we want to specifically add any language that calls out our operational goals, BA. That was the only question I think I still had.
I think it would be helpful to call it out. Would it be in a footnote?
So we have in first page, the reference to BCB in that first page there. So we could find the one that lines to it. I think it's the second bullet in that same section. Based on our decision and available facts, vote our convictions, avoid bias, uphold and support the decision of the majority of the school committee once a decision is made, and recognizing the mayor under policy BA. The mayor's obligations, or however you'd like to phrase it.
I think you got it.
Okay, recognizing the mayor's obligations under policy BA. So with the edits and that amendment, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt this and send it around for signature.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any other concerns or comments? Okay, I'll call the roll. Mayor Cahill,
Yes.
Ms. Coelho,
Yes.
Dr. Mackenzie DeFranza,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson,
Yes.
Dr. Silva,
Yes.
Ms. Visnick,
Yes.
and Ms. Abel, yes. Thank you. Get that off our agenda. And Ms. Bergeron, I'll be in touch about getting that out through DocuSign. The next item that's been on our agenda for a couple of weeks is looking at our fall calendar. And seeing as we're running short on meetings this year, we should set some for the fall. Ms. Bergeron has created draft option 2 that increases the amount of time for our subcommittee work by 15 minutes with a 6:15 p.m. start time. I also consulted with our student representative about what might work better for students to have more participation. And we checked with some of the other students that typically are on our student advisory council. They thought a remote option would be very helpful since many of them don't drive or have transportation at 6 o'clock. It also would be helpful for our student rep to not have to come, then wait for the whole subcommittee meeting, and then come back to the table. So if the committee is agreeable, we could hold the student advisory committee as a remote option at 5 p.m. That would allow members to take it from their home or from their office and then come in time for the 6:15 standing committees. It would also allow more school committee members to join without having that same challenge that our student representative had of having to, potentially sit through a meeting at which they're not invited to the table.
So it would be fully remote.
It would be fully remote. Again, it's not one that's broadcast on BevCam. It's just our opportunity to speak with our students. It would be posted as part of our agenda, but it would be remote. Ms. Visnick.
What, if any, are the quorum requirements for that particular part of our meeting set?
It's a student-led meeting, and I don't believe we've actually had a quorum present. We do post it, and I actually would have to figure out if we do need to create a meeting record if we did have a quorum, but to my recollection, we've never had more than 3 members.
I do not yet know my fall schedule, right? And I'm going to be south of Boston.
Yep.
So I don't have any idea whether I'll be able to join or not. And I have missed other ones in the past. I just didn't know if that was causing a burden. That is my only concern relative to this. I do expect that I'll be able to get out of school and back on the North Shore in time for the 6:15 and the 7, but I don't know that I can make any guarantees for 5.
Okay. Fair. Is there other feedback? I'm looking online to our colleague.
I think if it's helpful in engaging more students, I like the idea of that. And I do understand, especially when they have homework and other things, that it can be a challenge to wait for, to sit through another meeting. So I can understand that logic.
Okay. Okay. So it sounds like we'll have the remote option for Student Advisory Council, and we will hope to have a quorum of school committee members and create a brief meeting record for that. We do post them, but it's not our meeting to run. It's really the students that are running the meeting. But if we have a quorum and are discussing things that may come before us, we'll certainly make sure we do that properly. And then the 6:15 start, I think that we experienced it yet again tonight, that we typically run about 15 or 20 minutes over in our standing committees, despite our best effort and the fast-talking speakers that we bring. So I am looking for a motion to approve, unless there are any other ideas for our fall calendar.
I'll make that motion to approve the fall
Second.
schedule.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson and Dr. Silva.
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Silva. Any further comments? I'll call the roll. Mayor Cahill,
Yes.
Ms. Coelho,
Yes.
Dr. Mackenzie DeFranza,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson,
Yes.
Dr. Silva,
Yes.
Ms. Visnick,
Yes.
and Ms. Abel. Yes, 7-0. Thank you so much. The last thing on the chair's report is just to mention the final meetings that we have on our schedule before our summer break. The negotiating subcommittee will be meeting tomorrow, June 13th, remote only, to do some preparations for our June 17th meeting with Unit A for negotiations. Negotiations is also on the calendar for an all-day session with Units A and C on June 26th. We'll take a brief break and then join everyone back at the table for Finance and Facilities and our Committee of the Whole. I did also want to remind everyone that in our policies, we should have a retreat at some point this summer. I did not receive any topics or date suggestions, but something interesting I found is that our Division 2 or 1 MASC rep has changed. Dorothy Presser has retired, and we have a new representative, Alicia Mallon, and so I could always take an idea or a topic and invite her to join us. I think we'll probably schedule it via email. We'll figure out if there's any dates or need for us to meet in the coming month or so. We'll figure that out. So just take that as a reminder. We do need to have a retreat, and we have a couple of potentials. Next, I'd like to call on the chairperson of the Standing Committee of Finance and Facilities for their report.
That's me. That's me. The Standing Committee on Finance and Facilities last met 2 weeks ago, whatever that date is. I don't have it at my fingertips. And in that meeting, we covered a number of items, and we bring forward several things that need to be voted upon, including but not limited to gifts to schools for April of 2024. The Standing Committee on Finance and Facilities recommends as gifts to schools totaling $10,180.
So moved. Second.
Oh, it's in your packet. I'm sorry, I should have said that.
Thank you, Ms. Guerrero. Thank you, Ms. Robinson. We have a motion and second for the gifts to schools. I think I heard with gratitude.
With incredible gratitude, just like the BevEd money.
Any questions or concerns?
Rachel.
I'm sorry. So we have a motion for Ms. Coelho, a second for Ms. Robinson. With gratitude, I'll call the roll. Mayor Cahill,
Yes.
Ms. Coelho,
Yes.
Dr. Mackenzie DeFranza,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson.
Yes.
Dr. Silva,
Yes.
Ms. Visnick.
Yes.
And Ms. Abel. 7-0. Yes, 7-0.
So next time we meet, we'll have to approve all those grants that BevEd just brought forward, and that'll be another wonderful reminder of how great our community is. Excuse me. Standing Committee on Finance and Facilities recommends approval of the attached budget transfers number that were in your packet, number 1302 and number 187 for approval.
So moved. Second.
Thank you, Ms. Coelho, and thank you, Ms. Robinson, because I had already written those initials accidentally on top of this one, so you knew what I was waiting for. We have a motion and a second for the budget transfers 1302 and 187. I will call the roll. Mayor Cahill.
Yes.
Ms. Coelho.
Yes.
Dr. Mackenzie DeFranza.
Yes.
Ms. Robinson.
Yes.
Dr. Silva.
Yes.
Ms. Visnick.
Yes.
And Ms. Abel, yes, 7-0. Thank you.
And finally, the Standing Committee on Finance and Facilities recommends the approval of the policies below for a second reading and a vote. EFC, Universal Free School Meals. EFD, School Nutrition Program Charge Policy. EFE, Civil Rights Complaint Policy for Child Nutrition Programs. And DJE, Procurement Requirements. I will remind everybody that during our first reading, I tried to give a little overview about what changed in each of those. And the big changes exist in DJE, and that has been an ongoing little back and forth process with some city officials. And at our last meeting, the mayor reported that those city officials approved, were in agreement with the current wording in DJE as it is presented here.
So moved.
I will second. Thank you, Ms. Coelho. I do have a comment. Obviously, this is our second reading. We can approve these tonight. This does name our business manager, so we will be seeing this one again very soon.
Very soon.
I did, in between our first reading and second reading, have a question spring to mind. This specifically says that we cannot enter into contracts exceeding 3 years. And I do know, for instance, with our Apple laptop leases, those are 4 years and we have to go to city council. I just wanted to highlight that to make sure people were aware, because this language does say renewals, extensions, options, et cetera, would require a vote of the city council. And I just want to make sure that we understand exactly what that means when we have collective bargaining agreements and individual contracts with employees. So I will be doing some work just to make sure I understand exactly what any renewal, extension, or option truly means under this policy, just to make sure we take the proper steps.
And would you prefer if that policy said 4 years instead?
So under Mass General Law for a superintendent contract, for instance, we are able to contract for up to 5 years. And I believe that this is something to do with our home rule charter. And so just some homework. I know we're going to see this again real soon because we're going to have to update the names.
Okay.
Chair will take on that homework to make sure we fully understand what our obligations are to have the vote of city council for anything that looks like a extended contract, renewal, extension, or option. So.
Okay, and so while we're on that topic, I'll say we're going to see it again soon because we really, per our home rule charter, have to name an individual. And so the mayor, by our charter, is our procurement officer, and he is allowed to, I'll use the word bequeath, those powers to, he's allowed to name other individuals and not positions. And so that's why Ms. Sherburne's name is in our policy. And when that power transfers to someone else, we will have to update this policy to name the new person. And I did try to get it to name the position, but that didn't work.
We understand. And that's why I'm comfortable voting for it now, and we will try to get some questions clarified for our own operational understanding and bring this back when Miss Emma Puglisi's joining us in just a couple short weeks. Okay, I think we have a motion and a second. Were there any comments or additional concerns? I will call the roll. Mayor Cahill.
Yes.
Ms. Coelho.
Yes.
Dr. Mackenzie DeFranza.
Yes.
Ms. Robinson.
Yes.
Dr. Silva.
Yes.
Ms. Visnick.
Yes.
Ms. Abel, yes. 7-0.
Our group is, you just mentioned it, Ms. Abel, our group is next scheduled to meet June 26th.
For Finance and Facilities. Thank you so much. Dr. Mackenzie, next we have the Standing Committee of Curriculum, Instruction, and Student Life. Did you want to report out?
Sure, thank you. So the Standing Committee on Curriculum, Instruction, and Student Life had its final meeting for this school year today. You witnessed the lengthiness of it because it was filled with a lot of celebratory information on the progress of school improvement plans. So we heard from all of our school leaders. We were also able to hear about how some of the partnerships are working for our schools. There were some complimentary comments about City Connects and TNTP and some of the other school partners that are helping after school. There was also a discussion of the collaborative goals that the principals are pursuing. So that was really helpful to hear. And I assume that our next meeting will not be until the fall, unless I'm...
Yeah, I think we just voted September 11th will be our next CISL meeting, so thank you. Thank you so much. I'll report out on the negotiations subcommittee. I mentioned a number of dates up above, including a prep meeting tomorrow, our sessions planned with Uniday on the 17th and with A and C on the 26th. We also have a date of August 27th for a session with A and C. We do not have any summer dates set beyond those that I've just mentioned, but we're very optimistic of the collaborative work that we're doing with the Beverly Teachers Association for A, B, and C. And Next policy, do you have anything planned? You haven't met since we last met.
There is nothing planned, and I'm not aware of any policy updates from MASC, although I did get a letter in the mail probably 2 days ago that I have not yet opened.
Okay, fair enough. We'll all keep our eyes on those mailers. I do believe, just on that note, MASC has opened registration for the fall conference in November. If anyone has questions about that or is interested in attending, we can either work with Ms. Bergeron, or I think there's a way to very easily register yourself and then have that go to the district. Last agenda item in open session would be communications from school committee members. Were there any communications that we wanted to lay on the table? Ms. Visnick.
This is more of a plug than a communication. We saw this evening BevEd come forward and present a number of grants to teachers, students, PTOs. Those are possible due only because of the Honor a Teacher program. And so as we barrel towards the end of yet another year, I'd just like to encourage everybody to, if there was an educator, someone in the schools that made a positive difference to someone that you care about, to please consider honoring that person through the BevEd program. It's called Honor a Teacher, but it's meant to encompass all of the educators in the school district. In the past, this body has honored all of the members of the district, which was a really cool thing to do. And I got my start on BevEd. That was one of my first PTO assignments. And so way back in the day, and I still operate as a advisor to that entity. And I think they do great work, and they just pour the money right back into the schools. And so the more we can, just like supporting the field trips, going out to eat to help the kids raise money, if we can encourage people to honor their educators, that's a great thing.
Thank you for that reminder, Ms. Visnick. Were there other committee members? I just have one, and I've already passed it along to our athletic director and principal at the high school, and it was a request from a constituent that we have more adult communications with respect to sports and extracurricular opportunities for our students, to make sure that all students and their families and caregivers are aware of different events that are happening. And Mr. Thomas has encouraged parents to always reach out, but they are making efforts to make sure all the contact information for any of the coaches or extracurricular activities are clearly available on the website, including contact information. So I will get back to that constituent and also extend an invitation for direct communication with Mr. Thomas or the athletic director about some of those opportunities. So always appreciate it when parents ask really good questions. It's like, oh yeah, okay, well, you can go to the website, but if you don't know what you're looking for, how are you going to find it? So always appreciate those opportunities to make some connections and make sure that our students are getting access to every opportunity that we provide. We have so many here. With that, the chair is actually going to make the motion that we move to meet into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, for
So moved.
purposes. Well, the chair is going to move it. For purposes 7 and 3, and not to return to open session. Purpose 7 is to review and approve minutes from the executive session meeting of May 22nd, 2024. And purpose 3 is to discuss strategy with respect to and in preparation for collective bargaining with the BTA and AFSCME units, because an open discussion may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the committee. And again, we will not return to open session. I have made that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Coelho. This does require us to take a roll call vote. Mayor Cahill.
Yes.
Ms. Coelho.
Yes.
Dr. Mackenzie DeFranza.
Yes.
Ms. Robinson.
Yes.
Dr. Silva.
Yes.
Ms. Visnick.
Yes.
And Ms. Abel. I count 7-0. The motion has been approved that we now move to executive session and not to return to open session. This is pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21A, for purposes 7 and 3. Purpose 7 is to review and approve our meeting records from our executive session of May 22nd. And Purpose 3 is to discuss strategy with respect to and in preparation for collective bargaining. Thank you so much, BevCam, for being with us tonight. We'll allow you to sign off, and then we'll quickly move into our business.